fled the persecution under the communists in Hungary. He knows a little something about totalitarianism in addition to his scholarly work. And he had a message for Americans.
I want to send a very clear message to all Americans. You are on the front line of this war. It's not just the people who wear the cloth of the Republic or who carry a badge or a gun. It's the soccer moms at the soccer game. It's the people picking up their groceries at the grocery store. It's those American kids in a concert, an American concert in downtown Paris or at a Christmas party in San Bernardino. There is no front line on this war. The front line is when you leave your house in the morning. That's the front line. And this is the reality. The enemy has a plan. The enemy is dedicated. And I know one thing, Sean, and you know this as well as I do. If the political correctness continues, we will see attacks like this in America. They will continue to bring the jihad to our shores. We have now 100, it's gone up since we last spoke. We have now killed or arrested 107 ISIS individuals on U.S. soil since the caliphate was declared.
107, that's a substantial number. Here's a substantial number, too. This from religionofpeace.com, which in part maintains the site. List of Islamic terror attacks just in 2016. 1,268 Islamic-related attacks in 50 countries, in which 11,664 people were killed and 14,087 people were injured. Is it getting through to everybody just exactly how ubiquitous this is? What, frankly, our own CIA director, President Obama's CIA director, John Brennan, said just a couple of weeks ago. We have not negatively impacted the capacity of ISIS to commit acts of terror around the globe, and they're proving it. And they're proving it on a weekly basis at minimum. Smaller attacks in Islamic countries, and then these spectacular, devastating attacks like we've seen now in Nice and Paris and Brussels and on and on and on. Greg in Mount Greenwood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, how you doing? Listen, this is a reminder of something that, can you hear me?
Yes.
It's a reminder of something that Obama, one of his main goals has been to weaken America. He has this thing about us having this privilege over all the other countries and getting over and having all our, the way we're such a wealthy country and everything, and to weaken us. And he's written in his books, he's made all these statements. But the statement, you know the phrase, be careful what you wish for? Obama has had it as all these years to do this, to knock down by weakening the military, by doing all kinds of things with his cabinet to weaken us and mess us up. And I don't believe that his desire would have been to have all these people getting killed all the time and everything. But you think of all those beheadings, all these things. There's so much of this stuff that would have never happened. If we were still the powerhouse and still on top like we were before Obama, a lot of this would have never happened. But his desire and goal to weaken us, knock us all down, he's gotten way more than we wish for. He just wanted to make us weaker. But this is when you're weak, this is what happens. None of these people, Ferris, none of these people could care at all. And we are going to be in some real serious shape. This next race, Hillary will continue it. That's what's so scary.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Yeah, I agree with the kind of overriding point of your remark, which is that weakness is provocative, particularly American weakness.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Announcement postponed. Trump puts off naming his VP candidate, even though I think we all know who it is now. But he postponed it after that deadly attack in Nice. Here's your forecast for today. Intervals of clouds and some sunshine, a shower in spots. Not as warm as what we're used to, a high of 75 degrees. Tonight, a low in the 50s. And Saturday and Sunday look pretty good. Saturday, mostly sunny, a high of 78. And on Sunday, breezy, and the warmth returns, a high near 90 on Sunday. Let's get the travel times this Friday morning. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. In the state governed by Mr. Pence, there is construction on the Indiana Toll Road. If you're headed that way later this morning or this afternoon. Right now, no delays, though, on the toll road or on 8094 or 94, and I-65 is clear as well. In fact, so are the Chicago expressways at the moment. Traffic's getting a little bit heavier on the inbound Rhine approaching downtown. Outbound, there are entrance ramp closures from 35th, 47th, and 59th. The exit to 63rd is closed. There are street closures in downtown Plainfield for Plainfield Fest this weekend. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
This is Pete. I've had 3 missing teeth and have been thinking for a while about getting something done to get them replaced. I went to Dr. Neruzzi at Fox River Periodontics to see what they could do, and I'm glad that I did that. The staff there was fantastic. Dr. Neruzzi made sure I was comfortable during the entire process, always checking to make sure there was no pain. All my visits were very pleasant, and I'm glad I had it done. Another piece that made it fantastic was they worked with me on the payment. As all of us know, these are not inexpensive items to do, so they worked with me on the payment options as well as with my insurance carrier to help minimize my out-of-pocket cost. I feel so much better now that I've had my teeth and my dental implants put in. I feel more confident as I'm walking around. For those of you out there that are missing teeth and thinking about doing this, I would recommend you see Dr. Neruzzi and his staff. They're great, and I would highly recommend them going forward.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
The success of a mid-sized business often comes down to one thing: managing your cash flow. I'm Ann Dollagall, Treasury Management Executive at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, we take a personalized and proactive approach to structuring your cash management solutions to keep your financial assets safe and working for you. Our automated accounts receivable and accounts payable technology allows your business to grow without adding to your overhead expenses. And what truly sets Signature Bank apart is our personal approach. We get to know your business by rolling up our sleeves to work alongside you. Call me today for a review of your company's operational challenges.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy updating you on the terrorist attack in Nice. And here's something I went back and looked at. You remember this story? We talked about it. Survey research in Germany, France, and the UK as to whether people in those Western European countries had a favorable or unfavorable view of ISIS.
Okay.
This is 2 years ago. And the shocking number, a couple of shocking numbers. One, in France, 16% of those surveyed had a favorable view of ISIS. 1 in 6.
But if they took that survey today, it'd be a lot different.
I don't think so.
I don't know. They've had 3 attacks in the past 18 months.
Right, because what you have happening is a fifth column action. What you have happening is the country being taken over internally. What was the truck driver? Tunisian and
he was Muslim. I mean, from
French.
Tunisian and French.
He's a French citizen.
Right.
Right. It's the internal threat. Listen to these numbers from the same survey 2 years ago. 18 to 24-year-olds, favorable view of ISIS, 27%. 1 in 4 18 to 24-year-olds. 25 to 34-year-olds, 22%. 35 to 44-year-olds, 20%. So you have at least 1 in 5 18 to 34-year-olds in France with a favorable view of ISIS.
Okay, then they should kick him out. I mean, Newt Gingrich said something, we'll get to it later, amazing yesterday when he was on with Sean Hannity. I was surprised. Said if the Muslims that are here, ask them if they believe in Sharia law. If they do, kick them out. And I have never felt that way, but after yet another terrorist attack, kick them out. That'd be great. Line up. Let's go. We want to talk to you. What are your views? What are your beliefs? What are your values? And then kick them out. And that's what they need to do in France. That's the only way this is going to end.
Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, your earlier question, Dan, who's going to do something about it, Trump or Hillary? I think with Trump, at least he's going to give the impression that we, the citizens out here, are going to move the ball or have a little offense. With Hillary, you're going to get the consistent rhetoric of sadness after the event, but you're not going to get any action at all because she's so wound up in this political correctness. And if you look at the Democratic or the liberals, they brought this on to all of us by being, oh, we're so nice. Now, when they bring these people into this country, and I'm talking about from Muslims and so forth, how do they benefit this country, or are we benefiting them? Isn't immigration about benefiting the country, not so much the individual? But that's what these guys are promoting. Let's benefit them, and take them out of this. But how are they assimilated? And in fact, they were complaining about that last night. They brought in, France is overwhelmed. It's gone. 20, 30 years, it's going to be all Muslim. But they don't assimilate, and that's what we don't understand.
Thanks for the call out. Here's Donald Trump answering the question what he would do were he president yesterday. Responding to Greta's question.
Well, it'd be making it very, very hard for people to come into our country, for one thing, from terrorist areas. I would be so extreme in terms of documentation. We have people that Hillary Clinton wants to allow 550% more than Obama, and Obama's allowing a lot of people to come in. We have no idea who they are. They're from Syria, maybe, but they have no paperwork many times. They don't have documentation proper. I would make it, I would not allow people to come in from terrorist nations. I would do extreme vetting. I would call it extreme vetting, too. And, our country has tremendous problems. We don't need any more of the problems. Right now.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. Stacy wanted to contact a realtor before purchasing a home in Deerfield. Bad move. Not getting pre-qualified by me before talking to a realtor is like smoking while pumping gas. I pre-qualified Stacy to purchase a home and introduced her to Lauren Shue, my preferred Deerfield realtor. If you're purchasing a home, call me first. I'll pre-qualify you for free and introduce you to my experienced team of preferred realtors who will help you locate the perfect home. My team of real estate experts will always look out for your financial best interest. If you're buying a home, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License 4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
Hi, I'm Ken Pecco.
Hi, and I'm also Ken Pecco.
And we're from Combined Sales. For nearly 50 years, our family has served local businesses just like yours with quality paper, packaging, janitorial, and safety supplies.
We offer products your business can't live without and solutions you didn't know existed.
Like our managed vended inventory, which ensures you'll never run out of the important supplies needed to run your business.
Stretch film is an important supply. Bathroom tissue is an essential supply.
Combined Sales isn't a big box store or warehouse club. We have better customer service, and we're competitively priced. You'll have an outside rep, an inside rep, a customer service rep, and a username and password. And that's my promise to you.
This month, Combined Sales is inviting all AM 560 business owners to earn 5% in co-op reward dollars in all new orders for the first 3 months. Place a $500 order and receive a $50 co-op bonus. Request account set up with us at CombinedSales.com. That's CombinedSales.com and start earning today.
Come join the Combined Sales family.
Hello, everyone, and here we go again with Karen Lewis and the Chicago Teachers Union demanding more money from the Chicagoland taxpayers. Well, I say enough is enough. The teachers get paid from the property taxes that homeowners pay every year. If the Teachers Union gets more money, that means your property taxes are going to go higher. This is Tom Marabali, your health insurance advocate and independent representative for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other health insurance carriers. For months now, I have been telling you about purchasing health savings account PPO plans that will cost you approximately 40% less in monthly premiums than you're currently paying now. Well, the same thing applies to the Teachers Union. I can show the union that they can purchase a more comprehensive health insurance plan that is in full compliance with the Affordable Care Act and will cost the taxpayers up to 40% less in monthly health insurance premiums. For more information, you can call me at 630-863-3477. That's 630-863-3477.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Never Trump officially over before the convention starts next week. We'll have that at 5:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom and get the latest on the terror attacks in Nice, France.
Amy
Here's
and Dan,
Mike
good
Scott.
morning. 69 degrees. 2 Americans among the over 80 killed in yesterday's terror attacks in Nice, France. 51-year-old Sean Copeland of Texas, his 11-year-old son Brody, were vacationing when the attack happened. They were in a crowd of people watching fireworks on Bastille Day when a man in a truck plowed into that crowd. Donald Trump postponing his scheduled announcement of his vice presidential pick due to the truck attack. He spoke with Fox News.
Mike Pence made his stock in trade as a Republican congressman from the Hoosier state before becoming governor. He rose to the fourth highest ranking position in the House GOP leadership. Pence was sometimes mentioned as someone who might eventually become House Speaker. Democratic Indiana Congressman Andre Carson thinks Pence is pretty unpopular back home. Carson said, quote, "If you go to Indiana right now, you'd see so many Pence must go signs that it would make your head spin." Carson says Pence's polished image would, quote, "soften Trump," and he says that Pence at least looks presidential. Pence is currently the GOP nominee for a second term as governor. He'd have to resign as the nominee, opening a floodgate for candidates. Among them, Indiana Lieutenant Governor Larry Holcomb and 2 Republican members of Congress, Susan Brooks and Todd Rokita. At the Capitol, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Fox's Chad Pergram reporting on the governor's history and politics in Indiana. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine, being vetted for vice president by Hillary Clinton, says the U.S. needs a bridge builder, not a trash talker in the White House.
Hillary's ready for us. Hillary's ready for Virginia. Hillary's ready to be president. Hillary's ready to be our leader. Hillary's ready to make history.
President Obama continues to insist that the U.S. is not as divided as it seems.
I don't know anybody in the African American community or Latino community or others that may have concerns about policing that don't also recognize we need police.
Racial divisions highlighted again after last week's police shooting deaths of 2 young black men in Louisiana and Minnesota. Mayor Emanuel expected to take the wraps off a $300 million expansion project for O'Hare. 9 new gates added to Terminal 5 by 2019. And a group of bicyclists are riding across this state, raising money for families of Illinois law enforcement officers who died in the line of duty. Cycle Across Illinois began yesterday morning in Alton, that's near St. Louis. 340-mile-long ride ends Sunday in Woodstock. Each person participating required to raise at least $600 in donations. Texas and the Cubs start the second half of Major League Baseball, while the White Sox will tangle with the Angels. The news, a service of Denny's. For years, Denny's made some pretty darn good pancakes, but they knew they could do better, so they did. Now they're fluffier, tastier, and better. Are they better than yours? Only you can decide. Denny's, welcome to America's Diner. 5:35, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
LiveWatch helps you connect and respond up to 10 times faster in an emergency. LiveWatch has no long-term contracts. Save up to 50% off home security. Call 855-LiveWatch or visit livewatch.com.
Every day seems like such an ordeal to get moving and focused. Caffeine used to do the trick, but now stops working around mid-morning. It's like there's a lead weight around your neck. And as the day goes on, you get slower and slower and slower. You need Kyojo, the most advanced hydration supplement on the market today, with patent-protected ingredients that hydrate your body and enhance your mind. Caffeine's got nothing on this stuff. Kyojo is a pH-balanced blend of electrolytes, antioxidants, vitamins, and amino acids that are 100% natural. No artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners, no caffeine or stimulants, and no worries. Improve your focus and clarity of mind, increase energy and physical performance, enhance memory, and reduce mental stress with a boost in mood. Feel great with the on-the-go single serving stick packs that fit in your purse or pocket. Need a boost? Just open and add to water for a great tasting beverage. Get Kyojo online at Kyojo.com. Enter coupon code Kyojo10 at checkout for 10% off. That's KIOJO.com.
536, Guardian Security Services Traffic Center time. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens is clear right now, so is the Kennedy. Inbound Eisenhower, just a little heavy past Manheim. On Stevenson, it's a 2-minute delay, Cicero to Kedzie. Ryan, a 5-minute delay coming into downtown. The tollways are looking good. No delays to report in Northwest Indiana. Traffic is a service of Bank of America. Want cash back at Costco, Sam's Club, and BJ's today? Use your Bank AmeriCard Cash Rewards Visa credit card and earn 2% cash back at wholesale clubs. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/getcashback. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. There is a beach hazard up for all of Illinois, the Illinois shoreline of Lake Michigan and northwest Indiana, with increased risk of high waves and rip currents today. That on a beautiful sunny day, high 75. Currently 67. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MJ Miller & Company Jewelers. All that glitters is gold at MJ Miller Jewelers in downtown Barrington.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, I don't like to toot my own horn, Amy, but if I don't, who will?
I was going to toot your own horn, but wait, let me try that again. That came out wrong.
Yes.
I was going to commend you on your knowledge and prowess, political prowess of knowing who the VP candidate was going to be.
Do I win our AM 560 contest? Do I get $560 or?
Well, it's got to be official. So he was supposed to make the announcement 10 o'clock our time today, but due to the events in France, he's postponed it. We don't know when. It might not even be today. It might be tomorrow, or maybe he'll wait until Sunday.
Right. And his Donald Trump Jr. was on, he was on, I think, with Hannity last night, and he essentially didn't, there was not a specific timeline, but he said he anticipated, over the weekend, but obviously we're going to see how events unfold in the wake of this terrorist attack in Nice. So that's perfectly appropriate, but Mike Pence is going to be the nominee. I know there's some people still holding out for Newt Gingrich.
John Kasich? Oh.
Well, no, but they think that, he still may pick Newt, or he still may. It's so funny, the conspiracy theories that surround Trump.
But that's because he's so unpredictable, and I really don't trust him. I mean, I'm going to know who's vice president when he tells me who's vice president.
Pence has to file today that he's not running for governor of Indiana. It's done.
Well, when I saw him get off the jet.
He flew out to Manhattan last night, and this is done.
When I saw him get off the jet with So he stated as one of his New Jersey golf courses.
So, we'll take your reactions to Mike Pence as Trump's running mate. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Because Trump and Pence haven't always seen eye to eye on certain issues, such as banning the Muslim ban. Remember, Pence came out and said that was unconstitutional. And then Pence also said it's not, you can't discriminate against bakers, same-sex, or bakers who don't want to perform or produce cakes for same-sex weddings.
Well, he rallied to the defense of religious freedom before he didn't in Indiana. That was, again, one of the moments that called into question the strength of Pence's leadership. He also kind of gave a lukewarm endorsement of Ted Cruz in the last moments before the Indiana primary. But, for people to say, well, how he endorsed Ted Cruz? I mean, come on. This is about things that are bigger than who you did or didn't support in the primary, particularly because even though Pence disagreed with perhaps the choice of words Trump used in offering some of his policy prescriptions, as it were, he really wasn't personally critical of Trump.
Okay.
And I think that there's a distinction to be made there. And clearly Trump has made that distinction because he's going to be the running mate. And now you're not the only one who is trying to make peace with this. Ann Coulter.
Oh, Ann.
She has been on the Trump bandwagon pretty much since the beginning.
I think she created the bandwagon.
Well, I don't think she deserves credit for that, but she's an early supporter of Trump. Oh. She called it a combo platter of disaster. She wrote on Facebook, "I won't believe it until I hear it from Trump's mouth. Pence is the combo platter of disaster. He's all in for corporate America, bringing as many guest workers as they please to replace American workers. Tried to sell the monster amnesty as a compromise bill, and said Trump is about to make his first mistake. Well, I've kind of now discarded anything else Ann Coulter had to say after she said he's about to make his first mistake. This is his first mistake. He has not made a mistake until this point.
Yeah,
this is the first one.
We have weeks-long mistakes
Oh my goodness.
from Donald Trump.
But
I mean, do you think? I mean, did he go with his heart on this, or is this political practicality?
I think this is political practicality. I think it's probably informed by staff, and I think it's very interesting, the reaction to Pence from a couple of different quarters. You have people that have been openly antagonistic towards Trump, that have excoriated him for being too unconventional.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're criticizing him as being too conventional.
Somebody said yesterday, one of the pundits said it's risky for his brand for him to choose Mike Pence. I'm like, well, it makes social conservatives happy right before the convention, so everybody gets along. Nice people that couldn't warm up to Donald Trump, who are evangelicals, who are, social conservatives, can now say, you know what, I'm taking another look. I stand behind Donald Trump.
Well, a lot of evangelicals, as we know, a plurality in many of the primaries, supported Trump over the other candidates, including candidates who are evangelical in terms of their faith, because of the strength that he projects, Trump. But these pundits talk like, he's too unconventional. This is too conventional a pick. It doesn't bring why don't you just be honest? Just stop the disingenuousness. Be honest. Say, I don't like Trump. I'm an ever-Trumper, or I don't like him, and that's coloring all my analysis, rather than pretending you're giving dispassionate analysis. It's just kind of annoying. So there's that faction. Then there's also those that say, well, he needs to be a uniter. He needs to be a party builder. This selection is much more in that vein than any other selection he would have made, Christie or Gingrich, as it came down to. Perhaps even Kasich. I mean, Kasich is not exactly a beloved figure within Republican establishment circles either, for
he's
different
not,
reasons than
but
Trump.
I think he would help him win Ohio.
Well, I understand.
Be the only reason to take Kasich.
I understand, but I mean, if the argument and the criticism, he has to be a party builder, he has to unite the party. Well, this is about the best he could do along those lines. And yet the people that are lodging that criticism are also, as some of them, criticizing this selection. So it's a bit confusing. I think that it's generally a good selection. I think it provides greater depth to the ticket than had he just picked Gingrich. And I don't mean that from a knowledge base, because Gingrich is very knowledgeable and he's an excellent debater and all of the things that we've discussed. But I mean in terms of kind of tone and temperament. And I think that probably benefits Trump. I think you have Mike Pence, who may be unspectacular from a charisma point of view.
But he's not really nationally known.
Well, but that'll
change.
Right.
Once somebody does their sit-down interview with Governor Pence and his wife, and
a lot of VPs
bring out the children.
Yeah, a lot of VPs aren't nationally known. If Tim Kaine is selected as Hillary Clinton, exactly. So come on.
Okay.
But I think Pence provides kind of that stable foundation on which Trump can continue to build. And by the way, it also, I think, facilitated what happened yesterday, which is that advance of the Republican National Convention, which we'll be at broadcasting our show from next week.
Yes.
In advance of that, a proposal that affirms delegates are unambiguously bound to the results of primaries and caucuses, meaning they can't break the will of the voters and dump Trump at the convention. That passed 87-12 yesterday, and delegates subsequently easily crushed by a similarly large margin the long-touted conscience measure that would allow individuals to break from Trump and select another nominee on the first ballot over. So the idea that there's going to be even a substantial effort, an effort that bubbles to the surface and creates any kind of chaos in the convention floor. There may be chaos in Cleveland. There may be even chaos at the convention, but it's not going to be that because there's any threat to actually attempt to depose Donald Trump.
So the rules are not going to be changed.
No rules, no. You're bound.
We're bound.
And in terms of the convention lineup, some of which we talked yesterday, one correction.
Yes.
Tim Tebow not speaking at the Republican National Convention.
He's not?
No.
God, even before they released that list, CNN had him leading the people speaking at the convention.
Well, he posted an Instagram video where he said, I just got back from the Philippines, and I wake up this morning to find out I'm speaking at the Republican National Convention. It's amazing just how fast rumors fly, and that's exactly what it is, a rumor.
He's on the list.
Yeah, so he's
He's
says,
not? So, wait, do you tell me I have to cross out Tim Tebow?
It looks like you have to cross out Tim Tebow unless the Trump team can it's kind of circle back and lock Tebow into a spot. But
where's Caitlyn Jenner?
She's in the bathroom at Trump Tower.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's supreme apology. Oh, she's sleeping like a baby. And Trump reacts to it. But first, here's your forecast. It's going to be cool. A lot cooler than we're used to. We're going to have some clouds, some sunshine, a shower in spots, a high of 75 degrees. And your weekend looks pretty good. Saturday, it's going to be a repeat of today. Mostly sunny skies, a high in the mid-70s. And on Sunday, the heat returns. We're going to have plenty of sunshine and a high of 86 degrees. Let's go into the traffic center now. Anything hot on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Things are warming up a little, but it's fairly quiet so far early on a Friday morning. The Edens is clear. The Kennedy 2 inbound Eisenhower with a sluggish 17th to 1st Avenue. You've got a 2-minute delay. The outbound Ike is good. Inbound Stevenson, slow Cicero to Kedzie. Little heavy approaching Lakeshore Drive. It's about 37 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Outbound, it's fine. Ryan has a 5-minute delay coming into downtown. Bishop Ford, 5-minute delay, 103rd to the merge. Tollways are delay-free. Northwest Indiana looks great. We'll have traffic around Grant Park and downtown this weekend. Tonight, concert at Northerly Island. You've got the Rock and Roll 5K, 10K, and half marathon this weekend at Pitchfork Music Festival near West Side. Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Know that sound? That's the sound of trouble for CPAP users. Did you know that just one drop of water in your CPAP system can become a breeding ground for mold and bacteria? Breathe that stuff in and you're battling respiratory infections, allergy attacks, and more. But here's good news. SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It's the healthier way to clean your system because it kills 99.9% of germs in minutes. For a limited time, you can try it risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-500-2395. SoClean makes cleaning your CPAP a breeze. It's completely hands-free. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Don't let one drop of water wreak havoc on your body. Call SoClean.com now for your risk-free trial while supplies last. 1-800-500-2395. That's 1-800-500-2395.
The U.S. Senior and Women's Open, the BMW Championship, the Chicago Half Marathon, NASCAR racing, the Blackhawks Parade, so many festivals and special events. And they all have one thing in common: Master Fence Rental. Master Fence Rental provides professional fence rental services throughout all phases of your construction project, special event, or emergency situation, along with prompt delivery and expert installation. These are the guys to call when you need to maintain temporary safety and security security at your site. Master Fence Rental is ready right now for your next big event or building project with chain link fences, fence panels, and pedestrian barricades that are uniquely designed and built to be sturdy, safe, and attractive with easy installation and takedown. Event planners, show producers, contractors, request a free quote today and get ready to work with the temporary fence pros. Master Fence. Call 866-622-0822. 866-622-0822 or online, masterfencerental.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Shh. She's sleeping. Justice Ginsburg is napping.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg came out yesterday.
The notorious RBGO.
She came out and she apologized for what she said against Donald Trump. She said, I said something I should not have said. That's what she said to Nita
That's exactly
Totenberg.
what she sounds like, too.
She said, I would say yes to your question, and that's why I gave the statement. I did something I should not have done. It's over and done with, and I don't want to discuss it anymore. So she...
you have a boo-boo.
But she said in 3 separate interviews, she sounded off on Donald Trump at one point saying that, he's a faker and that if he's elected president, she'd have to move to New Zealand. But she has realized that she regrets what she did. On reflection, my recent remarks were ill-advised, and I regret making them, and judges should avoid commenting on a candidate for public office.
Oh, it's nice that somebody introduced her to the legal canons.
And then guess what happened? She went back to sleep, and Donald Trump had to wake her up.
Remember the famous phone call? At 3 o'clock in the morning, she'll answer the call. Guess what? She was sleeping. She was sleeping like a baby. Don't wake me up.
Don't wake me up. Maybe little Hillary and little Ruth Bader Ginsburg can share a little binky.
But the best thing, you know what Donald Trump did, though? He accepted her apology. He said, I appreciate the apology. She admitted she made a mistake. I accept it.
And I'm still going to call for her to recuse herself from all administration-related cases when I'm president of the United States.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I am so glad I did it. I'm just mad at myself for waiting so long. Hi, Amy Jacobson here for CertaPro Painters. Our front porch had chipping and peeling. It looked old and run down, but thanks to CertaPro Painters, it looks brand new again. And trust me, my neighbors are happy I did it. And it's not too late to book that painting project. But don't wait. Be sure to get on CertaPro Painters' summer painting schedule today. Call 800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro Painters will work around your busy schedule to get your home looking picture perfect for all your summer entertaining. That's why CertaPro Painters says we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, it's not too late to get that painting project off your to-do list. Call now, 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA, or visit CertaPro.com today.
From a single truck to large fleet, your business success depends on minimizing downtime for body and fender collision work, floor replacement, roofs, side panels, or bumper and hood damage. For over 4 decades, Chicagoland companies depend on Robax Truck and Auto Inc. Robax experienced techs average over 15 years with the company, offering pickup and drop-off service along with customer service second to none. Robax sees your job through. They believe customer satisfaction isn't everything, it's the only thing. That's why startup to Fortune 500 companies have depended on Robax for over 20 years. Robax also excels in box repair, truck body repair, and servicing of Morgan, Supreme Bodies, and other companies. So for a single vehicle or large fleet, call Robax Truck and Auto. Passion and dedication are the Robax tradition. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call Samantha at Robax today. Dial 847-981-9408 for info or a quote on your truck repair work. That's Samantha at 847-981-9408.
You've heard it. Illinois has the highest taxes in the nation. If you own a home, your mortgage payment is going up. Taxes, homeowners insurance are all increasing. This is Barbara Walters, president of Ameritrust. Think about this.
If your mortgage rate is 3.25% or above,
let's lower your mortgage payment. Anne refinanced and saved $649 per month on her mortgage payment. Alice refinanced and she saved $530 per month. And another couple saved $475 per month. No matter what, your mortgage payment is going to increase. Make the call, find out what your savings can be.
Ameritrust Mortgage. Call 815-459-7303, 815-459-7303, or go to am560myhome.com. Ameritrust Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee number 720, NMLS number 217229.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And right now you can try Listen Clear absolutely free, with free shipping. We'll even give you free batteries for life. So call now, 1-800-300-0868. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your 100% free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-300-0868. That's 1-800-300-0868. 1-800-300-0868.
AM 560, The Answer.
There, Notorious RBG. This is the lullabies that Ruth Bader Ginsburg goes to sleep to. She listens to her on her Walkman when she's at the State of the Union. So the big rage among you kids is Pokemon Go.
Oh, yeah. I got addicted to it yesterday. Because we were out looking. There's 151 characters that you can grab, and the best one is Pikachu. But yesterday we got Pidgey, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charizard,
Bulbasaur was the name of my
Jiggly-
high school band.
Jigglypuff.
It's a Journey cover band.
So what you do, you can either get out and walk to these locations and you can see where there's a character, so it's a virtual reality, or you can sit in your car like we did and just drive around the city and pick up characters.
It's nice that Peyton and Eli are taking you out so you can play Pokemon Go with your friends. Hillary's trying to be relevant.
We need strong, tough diplomacy, starting with our friends, to do on a bilateral basis with individual countries.
Oh, that's not the one. This is the
We're
one.
going to have a lot of jobs from building infrastructure to coding, creating new apps. I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
Oh,
wow. Lame. God, so lame.
She's worse.
So lame. Stop trying to be current. Stop it, old lady.
The only reason why I'm playing it's something I could do with my kids.
It's Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur?
Bulbasaur.
Oh,
Not
see,
Bulbasaur?
No.
Bulbasaur was the name of my band. That's why we
My
were
kids
confused.
just turned you, my
had a
kids just turned you off.
Where?
Bulbasaur.
Oh, it is Bulbasaur.
It is
What about
Bulbasaur.
Jigglypuff?
And we're
That's a
going to
cute
have
one.
to pick this up on the other side of the news that we now turn over to Mike Scott.
Mayor Rahm Emanuel unveiling plans to add new gates to O'Hare. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Dave Anthony. It sounded like fireworks, but came after the show ended. A man shooting at a crowd while driving a truck down a busy sidewalk in Nice, France, mowing people down, zigzagging to hit as many as he could.
We started hearing screaming. People were running, knocking over tables, breaking stuff, just, hysterical.
We also then saw people running towards us and a lot of people crouching down, looking for doorways, somewhere to hide.
At least 84 people were murdered, 2 of them Americans, a father and son from Texas. Dozens more were wounded. Fox's Simon Owens live in our European bureau.
Today, for the third time in 2 years, French President François Hollande addressing the nation following a major attack.
Cette attaque dont le caractère terroriste.
Hollande saying it looks like terrorism, saying the attacker drove his truck into crowds with the intention of killing, crushing and massacring people. The driver eventually shot dead by police. He is yet to be formally identified. Police say identity papers that were in his possession belong to a 31-year-old local man, a petty criminal of Tunisian descent. But they still need to do DNA tests on the body to be sure. Dave?
Simon, the White House said we're in solidarity with France after what it said appears to be a horrific terrorist attack, though no one, including ISIS, has yet claimed responsibility. Hillary Clinton says we're at war.
It's a different kind of war. We need to be smart about how we wage it, but we have to be determined that we're going to win it.
Donald Trump says
this is a different world
We're trying to be so politically correct, and we're making such big mistakes.
Now, the Republican was supposed to introduce his vice presidential pick this morning. That was delayed.
It's expected, though, that in the next couple of days he will announce his running mate, and it looks like it's going to be Indiana Governor Mike Pence. Could happen as early as tomorrow, might not happen until Sunday, but certainly he wants to get it done before the convention starts on Monday in Cleveland.
That's Fox's John Roberts. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Partly sunny, 65 degrees. 6:02 is our time on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Mayor Rahm Emanuel expected to unveil plans later today for an expanded O'Hare. Officials say 9 new gates will be added to Terminal 5 by 2019, part of a $300 million project funded with existing passenger charges. Chicago police are asking those who've had construction equipment stolen in recent months to report to a Westside District station to identify about $1 million worth of items allegedly found at a man's home on the west side. Investigators say up to $1 million in stolen goods was found at the home of a fencer, Jerome Brown. Among the items, bicycles, landscaping equipment, commercial-grade tools, and ladders. Many prominent Republicans are skipping next week's Republican convention, including Governor Bruce Rauner. AM 560's David Stewart reports the governor isn't talking about the presidential race anymore.
In March, before Trump locked up the nomination, Governor Rauner said he'd support the nominee.
And I'll do everything I can to work with that nominee.
Even if it's Trump?
I will support the Republican Party's nominee.
Since then, Rauner has criticized Trump's rhetoric as, quote, ugly, nasty, and weird. Now, he's not talking about the race or his vote, despite one reporter's persistence Thursday.
Don't you love her? She's the most persistent people on the planet, almost as much as me. I'm not commenting on the presidential race anymore.
So does it mean you're not going to vote for the Republican candidate?
I'm not going to comment on the race anymore.
David Stewart, Chicago.
Chrysler says it will spend $700 million to retool its Ohio assembly plant. That's good news for the state of Illinois. They're going to build the new Jeep Wrangler there while moving Jeep Cherokee production to its Belvidere, Illinois facility and adding 300 jobs to that line. Texas and the Cubs tangle as the second half of the baseball season gets underway while the White Sox take on the LA Angels. The news service of Denny's. For years, Denny's made some pretty darn good pancakes, but they knew they could do better, so they did. Now they're fluffier, tastier, and better. Are they better than yours? Only you can decide. Denny's, welcome to America's Diner. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity believes our government is not looking out for our well-being.
441 Syrian refugees have been admitted to the United States just since the Orlando attack. I've got a whole list here of names of people, all warning that ISIS will infiltrate the refugee population. Now, is that going to stop them from doing something stupid? Apparently not, because they're going forward with it.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Life can be unpredictable. That's why you should take control of your family's future now with an estate plan bundle from LegalZoom. Not sure whether you need a last will or a living trust? LegalZoom's network of independent attorneys in 48 states can help you decide which one's right for you without billing by the hour, since LegalZoom isn't a law firm. Plus, updating your estate plan as your family and assets grow couldn't be easier. Enjoy your life. Use LegalZoom for the legal stuff. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
Chances are you've had a tax problem, or know someone who has, or will have one. Bad taxes can happen to good people. Tax Defense Partners has been in the industry for almost 20 years. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, don't wait. Call 800-684-7777 now. Waiting can risk wage garnishing, compounding fees, interest, and more. Don't fight the IRS alone. Call Tax Defense Partners at 800-684-7777.
6:05, let's get an update on the roads. In our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Kennedy, traffic is getting just a little bit heavy coming out of the River Road toll. The outbound side is still good. No delays to report on the Edens. And on Eisenhower, heavy 17th Avenue to 1st Avenue, 32 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 29. Stevenson is 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound fine at 34. Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to the Loop, Bishop Ford got a 5-minute delay, 103rd at the merge. North on Tri-State, slow in pockets. The Reagan Tollway and Grand Avenue. Their tollways are fine. Traffic service of Burger King's Grilled Dogs. Where are you going to get a delicious grilled hot dog? Your backyard? No, Burger King. Burger King's Grilled Dogs are made with 100% beef, flame grilled to perfection. Pick up a grilled dog today at participating Burger King restaurants. Flame grilling hot dogs since 2016. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Let's get the latest with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, intervals of clouds and sunshine with a shower in spots. High of 75. Tonight, mainly clear, low 59. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high of 78. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
Watch out for beach hazards that are up for this morning throughout the day along the Lake Michigan shoreline of Illinois and northwest Indiana. Rip currents up as well. 65 degrees at O'Hare, 68 along the lakefront. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Fox River Periodontics, Chicagoland's specialist with dental implants. To get your smile back, visit implantsforme.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
We need strong, tough diplomacy, starting with our friends who do everything we need to be prepared, to work with each other, to ferret out these terrorists, and to prevent future attacks.
Well, it'd be making it very, very hard for people to come into our country, for one thing, from terrorist areas.
I have been unequivocal in condemning any rhetoric directed at police officers.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. What up? Well, we know more about the terrorist attack in Nice last night. We know at present 84 people were murdered. Another, 18 are in critical condition?
Yep, 50 injured, 18 are in critical condition. And of those killed, 10 or more are children, including an American. His name is Sean Copeland. He was out watching the fireworks with his 11-year-old son, Brody Copeland, and they're from Austin, Texas. And their other family members, they're on a European vacation. Half the family went back to the hotel. They watched the remainder of the fireworks and got mowed down by this monster in a truck.
Both father and son were murdered.
Yes, both of them were killed.
And the driver of that truck, a 31-year-old Franco-Tunisian man, French-Tunisian man, and
no known ties to terrorists, but police in Nice knew him because of petty theft and petty crimes that he's committed.
But we do have ISIS celebrating the terrorist attack. We do have ISIS not claiming responsibility per se, but suggesting the attack was in response to coalition forces killing one of their top lieutenants a couple of years ago. We have, of course, the responses pouring in from political types. And we also have this larger discussion about internal threats that have been allowed to metastasize. And I point to this survey I mentioned last hour, but the numbers, I remember this from a couple of years ago, and the numbers are jarring, and it sets up the discussion that Newt Gingrich had on Hannity's program last night. It also sets up the discussion that is going to be part of this presidential campaign, which is who are we letting into this country? And Steve on 88 had a really good text on this. He texted, where is it? You wouldn't have to search for the quote-unquote needle in the haystack lone wolf Islamic terrorist if they had to pass through the eye of the needle. It's a good,
that's a good
way to phrase it. And here's to his point. This survey from 2 years ago by ICM Research asked people in Germany, France, and the UK about their attitudes toward ISIS. Do they have a favorable or unfavorable view of ISIS? 16% of those surveyed in France had a favorable view of ISIS. 16%, 1 in 6. Now go down the age demographics, and it gets even more frightening. 18 to 24-year-olds, 27% in France. 25 to 34-year-olds, 22% in France. 35 to 44-year-olds, 20% in France.
How the heck can you have a favorable view of ISIS?
Because
unless you are one.
Because you are a Sharia-compliant Muslim who's living in France. You know,
Well,
these,
they need
these
to do some
these no-go
Wonderlic
neighborhoods.
tests. Yeah.
Yeah, so this
Then
is
kick them out.
Well, this is a fifth column action. That's what France is experiencing. By comparison, in the same survey, the percentage of individuals who had a favorable view of ISIS, even with their own internal kind of sovereignty issues, Germany 2%, the UK 7%. So the problem is significantly more substantial in France than some of these other Western European countries. This is a survey from 2 years ago. We've seen the results of those seeds of hatred. And if you have a favorable view of ISIS, I would say those are hateful views that are at the foundation there. We've seen this now play out in both Paris and then last night in Nice. That's
and it's
real.
just a matter, it's real, and it's just a matter of time before it happens here. Last night, the instrument of terror was an ordinary white truck that he used, and he kept maintaining the speed. He plowed through barriers, zigzagged, went up on the boardwalk, went a mile. And then he was also, the reports, shooting while he was driving down, too. I mean, it's sick.
And we're waiting to hear from Sun-Times columnist Neil Steinberg as to whether he's the wife beater. So that's how you can pick him from all the leftists that write for the Sun-Times. So he's the wife-beating red diaper baby at the Sun-Times, as compared to the other red
Is he going to try to get a CDL today or something?
Well, right. I'm waiting to hear if he is going to go attempt to purchase a white box truck and then write about it, like he did try to purchase a rifle and write about it after Orlando. So can we get past the instrumentalities of evil now and get to the evil? Well, Newt Gingrich has a proposal.
He sure does.
He has a proposal to do that. Let's listen to Newt's proposal as presented on Hannity last night. Take your reactions, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro text line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. The first one is the answer line, of course. Here's Newt on Hannity.
So let me start with where I'm coming from, and let me be as blunt and as direct as I can be. Western civilization is in a war. We should, frankly, test every person from here who is of a Muslim background, and if they believe in Sharia, they should be deported. Sharia is incompatible with Western civilization. Modern Muslims who have given up Sharia, glad to have them as citizens, perfectly happy to have them next door. But we need to be fairly relentless about defining who our enemies are. Anybody who goes on a website favoring ISIS or Al-Qaeda or other terrorist groups, that should be a felony, and they should go to jail. Any organization which hosts such a website should be engaged in a felony. It should be closed down immediately. Our forces should be used to systematically destroy every internet-based source. And frankly, if we can't destroy them through the internet, we should destroy them with kinetic power, using various weapons, starting with predators, and just frankly, just killing them.
Wow. And Sean Hannity just went, he was stunned into silence.
Well, I will say this. I agree with Newt Gingrich that Sharia law is incompatible with Western civilization. That's true. Do you want to prosecute thought crimes? He made the point that, well, yes, people say the Orlando shooter, he was an American citizen. That's true, said Gingrich, but his father was a Taliban sympathizer, and there should be essentially like a two-strike rule, which is if you're affiliating with terrorist organizations or even a rogue terrorist state, and then that's one, and if you do anything in furtherance of that, that's two, when you're out. I think there's a couple of problems with what he said. One is just a philosophical problem of prosecuting thought crimes.
Right.
You can have seditious thoughts in this country, and in a free society, you're allowed to have seditious thoughts. You're not allowed to commit acts of sedition, and there's a difference there. Why are you laughing?
Acts of sedition. It's a chapter in my book.
Acts of sedition.
Acts of sedition, yeah.
But I mean, your reaction to this. I mean, I understand.
It's a big deal. I mean, what he said, because the left is using this as, oh, Republicans are racist. They just want to ban all Muslims. No, this is a thoughtful suggestion that is, yeah, it's a little fringe. It's a little crazy. But considering what's going on in the world, I'm for it.
You're for if people believe abide Sharia law, believe in Sharia law, if that's their
value system.
Well, that's their
how they
faith,
live.
as it were. Then they should be deported.
Mm-hmm.
If they've otherwise a law-abiding American citizen, legally or a legal permanent resident or whatever, they're legally here.
Or a green card, visa, whatever.
Yeah, they're legally here and they believe in Sharia law, but they have not done anything illegal. They should still be deported.
Yes. And they should adopt this Newt Gingrich rule in France.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. On that question, people...
Nobody else is doing anything. What are we doing to fight ISIS, to fight terrorists?
Well,
to fight Al-Qaeda, to fight jihadists? Because it's coming here soon.
I agree that we could be doing more than this regime is doing, but that is not necessarily the same thing as saying we should do something that I view as problematic and at odds with the Constitution and at odds with the principles of a free society.
Yeah, it's extreme.
Do you want government in the business of prosecuting thought crimes? I mean, just even that's a philosophical question. Now the question of interviewing every Muslim in this country, interviewing some 3 to 6 million Muslims in this country, and asking them if they believe in Sharia law, if they're Sharia compliant, and knowing that they're going to be deported if they are, if that was all copacetic in terms of any legal challenges, which there would be some. I don't think it's copacetic, and I think it's
a knee-jerk reaction to what happened in Paris.
Yes,
maybe?
Yes, I do.
What about starting with the women who are wearing the burqas? Like, do you really want to wear that burqa when it's 104 degrees outside? Is that? Do you have a choice, or if you take that off, your man's going to beat you? If you get behind the wheel of a car, are you going to get killed?
Well, they
have Sharia law in their own homes, Dan. They don't out on the streets, but
I understand. But again, is that a violation of the law? Is there any violation of the law going on? Are people being coerced into doing something they don't want to do? That's a different question. And Newt has a lot of good ideas. I don't think this is one of them. Let's go to Ralph in Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. Mr. Wifebeater Sun-Times columnist, he doesn't even have to try to buy a truck. He could just go out and rent one. And I dare say, I would hate to see more U-Hauls turned into U-Malls here in this country.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Andy in Elwood.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good.
Yeah, just to expand a little bit on that last caller, I don't know. We should have a ban on vehicles that are capable of running over more than 20, 25 people at a time.
Right. Yeah, so
Where's Obama?
Waiting periods and so forth. Yeah. Thanks for the call, Andy. Larry in Bartlett, about Mark Kirk.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Dan, I'd like to invite you to join me on a conference call with Senator Durbin. We could ask him to propose legislation to just outright ban all white box and moving trucks. That'll completely get rid of the problem. It'll never happen again.
I'm sensing sarcasm. Thanks for the call, Larry. Kent in Lincoln Park.
Hey, good morning, guys. The bottom line is this. Newt Gingrich, I think, has some, obviously good ideas, but they're unconstitutional. And not only that, they're wrong. You know they're illegal, Dan, as well as I do. For religious reasons, you can't kick somebody out of this country. But, the bottom line is this. This war has been going on since the Crusades, where the kids were trying to take back Jerusalem. The bottom line is the West has been at war with the East for thousands of years, and as a country, we need to accept that fact, and we need to become much more militarized to be able to try to protect the citizens, because a lot of people are going to die in this war, and it's been brewing since the Iranian Revolution back in 1979, period.
Well, you're right. I think it's been brewing since the Crusades. I think you're right, Ken. Thanks for the call. And by the way, just in 2016, Islamic terrorist attacks. 1,268 Islamic terrorist attacks in 50 countries, 11,664 people killed, 14,087 injured. Those are some pretty big numbers. This isn't, I know these attacks like Nice or the Paris concert or Brussels airport or the airport in Istanbul. These get a lot of the attention, and that's part of the point of this terrorist activity. But this is going on in Islamic countries. It's going on in secular countries, obviously, Western European countries, this country. And boy, the body count and the number of incidences are piling up, aren't they? We'll take more of your calls after this.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine right now, less humidity, not as warm as yesterday, that's for sure, a high of 75 degrees. And your weekend looks pretty good. Saturday, a repeat of today, highs in the mid-70s. And on Sunday, things are going to warm up again, a high of 86 degrees. Let's get those travel times. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy. South side of Chicago, California Avenue is closed between 55th and 56th, but a building collapsed there. Edens looks good for now, just a little heavy inbound approaching the junction. The Kennedy is 21 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 20. The Eisenhower, 34 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 30. The Stevenson is 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, and outbound Fonda 34. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown, I-57. Again, just a little heavy approaching the merge. Bishop Ford, 20 minutes, 80-94 to the Ryan. Northbound Tri-State, slow Plainfield Road to the Hinsdale Oasis, and in pockets from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. The other tollways are fine. I'm Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
They're already putting back-to-school items on the school shelves. Yes, in the school year just around the corner. Maybe this summer you've been rethinking about sending your kids to a public school. Things are changing in our public schools and not always for the better. So now might be the time to consider a private school, and you can do it for half the price off regular tuition thanks to halfpriceschools.com, where you can find tuition vouchers for private schools across the Chicagoland area, even Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And there's no catch. It's real simple. Find a school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. Halfpriceschools.com has schools located all across the Chicagoland area, including Waukegan, South Holland, Arlington Heights, Downers Grove, Wheaton. So don't delay. Schools will be starting again in just a few weeks. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. Now, many of these vouchers have already sold out, so do not wait. Visit halfpriceschools.com today.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, oh boy, we lit up the boards talking about what Newt Gingrich proposed yesterday, the idea that we should interview all Muslims in America, determine whether or not they abide Sharia law, and deport those who do. I find that problematic, and
I think it's a wonderful idea. We have to start somewhere. Let's do something.
Let's start by throwing the Constitution out.
Oh.
No, I don't want to.
I had to bring up the Constitution.
Oh,
I have a copy of
Trump
it
card.
in my purse.
Grant in Rockford.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, I worked with a couple of Muslim people on the highway in the last couple of years, and it's a great guy, but we would have serious conversations about what's going on in the Middle East, and I'd bring up Sharia law, and I'd deny that it even exists, and, you bring up Egypt and Iran and all the other things that they do to women, and days, and he just blow me off as if it didn't even exist. So I don't think that interviewing them is going to do any good. I think we need to put them through the eye of the needle, as your other texter said. Thank you.
Thanks, Grant. Appreciate it. Ed in Valpo. Hey, Ed.
Hello.
Hi, Ed.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
I'd like to make a comment about the jihadist law and the Muslims that are here that might be or do follow that. These people, no one's considered this, or maybe they have, but haven't talked about it much. They're using our Constitution as citizens to infiltrate our society, the American citizens, but bringing with them their jihadist law. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. That's what's going on. That's how they're like a Trojan horse, if you will.
Well, that's what this has happened in France. It doesn't have to be that way, though, if we did a better job of vetting on the front end, and that's the point that a number of people have made. But I appreciate what you're saying. Thanks for the call, Ed. I mean, that is what has happened in France. There's no question about it. Let's go to Brad in Manhattan.
I was just reading the oath of allegiance from the United States that a naturalized citizen takes. And not only do they renounce any allegiance to any foreign powers of prince, but they swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the last time I checked, the Constitution and Sharia law are not compatible. It's like either being pregnant or not.
Yes.
Okay, you can't do both.
Yes, but
Just leave my comments with that.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Brad. Politicians swear to defend and uphold the Constitution too. How good a job do most of them do? Should they be deported? Yeah, they should actually. I'm undermining my own argument. No, I'm kidding, of course. And so the point is that you can swear the allegiance to be admitted to this country, to be a United States citizen, naturalized citizen. But you can also still have these thoughts. The issue is ugly thoughts, hateful thoughts. The issue is prosecuting thoughts, not action. That's the conversation we're having. Yeah. Do you want to cross that line into prosecuting thoughts? Chris in Cedar Lake.
Yeah, I think we already do prosecute thoughts in terms of hate crimes. Obviously, we prosecute the crime itself, but then we pile on charges for an individual's thoughts when they committed the crime. But to me, that's prosecuting thoughts.
Well, I think, thanks for the call, Chris. I mean, I think hate crimes are silly. Hate crime laws are silly. Hate crimes are silly, too. But hate crime laws are silly.
Every crime is filled with hate.
Right. But there's still an underlying action there. So it's just different than what we're talking about here. Jordan in Forest Park.
Yeah, I think that the Muslim population in France is roughly 10%, and the rest of Europe it's about 5%. Over here it's about 1 or so. So I think that what you can do legally, not just with the Muslim population, but you can remove financial incentives for people to move to a country. You could do it through federal law. You could do it through state law. So you have less of an incentive. Right now there is an incentive for anybody to move into this country, whether it's from Mexico or Latin America or whatever. And you've got to do something about that. Otherwise, the problem will continue.
Thanks, Jordan. Steve on the north side.
Yes, back in the 80s when I came to this country as a refugee, I knew being a communist wouldn't get me a visa. People who believe in Sharia law, they despise democracy. They cannot be a law-abiding citizen. It's like Saddam Hussein saying, I believe in democracy, and he's a dictator. When you believe in Sharia law, you despise democracy. You don't believe in voting. It's forbidden. You don't believe in loans and charging interest and many other punishments for crimes. How could you be a law-abiding citizen? You swear to uphold the Constitution while deep in your heart you believe in the Sharia law.
Thanks.
Whether suggestion, you gave the suggestion is good or bad. I'm not talking about that, but you cannot believe in Sharia law and be a law-abiding citizen.
Thanks for the call, Steve. Appreciate it. Although in this country, you can both be opposed to democracy and not be law-abiding and still be the Democrat nominee for president.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, this is Joe Walsh. That's me sleeping on a MyPillow. You know what? There's a great reason why nearly every AM 560 host endorses this darn pillow. Because it's the best. Even the National Sleep Foundation agrees that Made in America MyPillow is in a class by itself. Because they made it their official pillow, man. Hey, if you still haven't bought one, you should. You will sleep better and it's good for your health. It's washable to remove dead skin, dirt, skin oils, and dust mites that can cause allergies, acne, and asthma. You really deserve a washable MyPillow. It comes with a 10-year warranty and it's an excellent health investment. Visit MyPillow.com or call 1-800-489-0201. Be sure to use that promo code Joe so I get credit and you'll get 2 MyPillows for the price of one. Give one as a gift, keep the other for yourself, or just use both. But do it now. 1-800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code Joe.
If you've been putting off purchasing your first firearm or maybe adding to your collection, here's a great new offer from Schrenk Smoke & Gun. Through July only, purchase any store-owned firearm and receive 2 free boxes of range ammo. Such a deal. And the selection is great because Schrenk's carries the largest selection of new, used, and consignment firearms in Lake County, including pistols, rifles, shotguns, hard-to-find calibers, collectibles, and older functioning hunting rifles. Plus, Schrenk's has full gunsmith services, so plan ahead for hunting season. And if you love cigars, then check out Schrenk's Humidors. Don't miss this July deal of 2 free boxes of range ammo when you purchase any store-owned firearm. Visit SmokeTheletterN.gun.org or call 847-662-4034. Schrenk's Smoke & Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964. That's 847-662-4034 or online at SmokeTheletterN.gun.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, in the wake of attacks like Nice, you want to hear from moderate Muslim leaders, and we're going to at 6:36. Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, founder and president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, joins us.
And later, a dance party at Harvard canceled. Why? Find out coming up. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Partly sunny, 65. 2 Americans among the dead from last night's Bastille Day terror attack in France. State Department spokesman says the pair were among those killed in Nice when a truck plowed through a crowd gathered for the fireworks show. Eric Drattel was one of the thousands on the waterfront in Nice and says it did not take long to realize what was going on.
When the fireworks had ended, we were just settling our bill. All of a sudden, we heard screams and pop, 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 pop sounds. And my wife, though she's deaf, recognized the sounds as gunfire.
At least 84 were killed, along with the driver. French police say the identity papers with that driver of the truck belong to a 31-year-old Frenchman of Tunisian descent. The presumptive presidential nominees have denounced the Nice attacks. Republican Donald Trump.
It's so sad and it's constant. It's constant. We don't do anything about it. We're weak and we're weakly led and ineffective.
While Democrat Hillary Clinton vowed we will not be intimidated.
It's terrible that France has faced too much tragedy and violence, and we need to stand strongly with them because events like this remind us how vital it is in every way not to abandon them.
It will be a while longer before we find out who Donald Trump's running mate will be. The presumptive GOP nominee abruptly postponed plans to announce his vice presidential pick after the attacks. There is speculation it will be Indiana Governor Mike Pence. Funeral services today for Alton Sterling, Louisiana man whose police shooting death was caught on camera last week. Mayor Emanuel expected to unveil plans today for a major expansion at O'Hare in Terminal 5, part of a $300 million overall project. Authorities say a man found dead in the trunk of a burning car near Joliet had been shot. The victim's body discovered early yesterday near the corner of Patterson and Brandon Roads. His death ruled a homicide. Chicago sports, Major League Baseball back. Texas and the Cubs battle at 1:20. Sox on the West Coast visiting the L.A. Angels. The news a service of Aruba Tourism. How would you like to take one big happy family to Aruba? We'll take a break and go to Aruba, voted one of the best family vacation sites in the Caribbean, with accommodations to fit every family size and budget. Check out all the family happy deals and offers at Aruba.com. Aruba is one happy island. 6:36 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Financial Planning with Jack Taboda, your 401k specialist, whose goal is to protect, preserve, and grow your wealth. Saturday mornings at 7.
No matter who wins the presidential race, it's the most unusual election in our lifetimes. One candidate is an egomaniacal, scandal-plagued celebrity who can't go a day without spouting falsehoods. The other, a reality TV star. Hi-oh. Good grief. So laugh, don't cry by spending an evening with acclaimed author and humorist P.J. O'Rourke and Friends of Liberty from across America at the Heartland Institute's 32nd anniversary benefit dinner. For more than 3 decades, the Heartland Institute has worked to advance free markets and individual liberty, and P.J. O'Rourke has kept America laughing while advancing those principles. Hear PJ's unique and hilarious perspective on the election of our lifetimes.
Government is a Rottweiler ready to be unleashed on your problems, and you've stuffed raw meat down the front of your pants.
Early bird rates end July 31st, so act now and save 20% on tickets, tables, and a VIP reception. Call 312-377-4000 or visit heartland.org for more info. This can't-miss event is September 15th in Palatine. That's 312-377-4000. Call now.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance, but they're also a staffing leader. They supply handpicked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com.
It is 6:38 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Mike, south side, the intersection of 55th and California is closed due to a building collapse. The Edens, 19 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Kennedy, 25 minutes O'Hare to downtown outbound 23. The Eisenhower, 40 minutes Thorndale to the Loop outbound 34. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, so Archer to the Hinsdale Oasis, very slow from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Traffic also a service of Aruba Tourism. Aruba is your shortcut to romance. Celebrate a special anniversary, rekindle a romance, or have a destination wedding. Hop a nonstop flight from O'Hare to one happy island. Plan your shortcut to happiness today at Aruba.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. There are beach hazards up for today. Winds coming from the north, northwest will push that water toward the beach. Higher waves and rip currents, along with clouds and sunshine, will warm up to 75. 65 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show, a show about the truth of the foreclosure crisis. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560 The Answer.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, Amy, maybe I've told you the story before, but pretend like I haven't if I have.
Okay.
I went to the U.S. Army War College in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania a few years ago.
You used to wear that sweatshirt.
Yeah, just for a week. You know, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I just went for the civilian part, like a week seminar thing. I'm not like a colonel or lieutenant colonel, like career military. I'm just a punk. Just a punk from Wheaton. But anyway, it was fun to spend some time with all of these career officers that are, going to reach high levels of military as well as the
Did you get to
intelligence
intermingle
community.
with them and
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to
They
them
wanted
and-
to hear from. That's why they do a civilian seminar, because they want to hear from people from all kinds of different walks of life in America, and also help develop an understanding of what they do and the training they undergo, and just kind of have a bit of a intellectual exchange, if you will. So one of the speakers that we had was this woman who was a professor at an adjunct facility in an adjunct institution to Princeton University. And she particularly focused on Islamic terrorism, as well as just kind of study of the Islamic world, various Islamic countries. And one of the things I recall to this day, now she was somebody that was very sympathetic to the idea of working with peaceful pluralist Muslims to eradicate radical Islamic terrorism.
Okay.
And kind of in contravention to Sharia law and those sorts of things. But I remember she put up a map of the globe, and she had little red circles in parts of the globe, and those little red circles constituted pockets of peaceful pluralist Muslims in the world.
And how many circles were there?
Well, here's the problem. And I was struck by this. And remember, this is somebody who is sympathetic to the cause of and the prospect of peaceful pluralist Muslims essentially winning the day within the Muslim community. But the pockets of red circles were in places like Southwest United States, Australia. You know where I didn't see too many red circles? North Africa, the Middle East, into Central Asia.
Any in Europe that you remember?
Well, yes, but the problem is there were no circles where the overwhelming majority of Muslims actually live. And I was always struck by that, because we're constantly saying what's this very small percentage of Muslims that are radicalized terrorists. And that's true, but a very small percentage of 1.5 billion individuals turns out to be a pretty big number. Say it's 10%. That's 150 million people. And maybe say it's 1%. That's 15 million people. That's 15 times the size of the at least the enlisted folks in the U.S. military. So let's concede the point that it's a small percentage, but let's also remember a small percentage of a big number is a big problem. And it seems to me that's what we have. Mike Flynn, former retired Lieutenant General Mike Flynn, stick with the military for a moment, was on with Megyn Kelly yesterday. And here's what he said he would like to hear and who he'd like to hear from. It's not the President of the United States. It's the leaders of some Islamic states.
President Obama came out with his statement. Okay, I got it, and that's wonderful. You know, I'm done trying to convince him to really recognize what it is that we are facing, and we should not fear what it is that we are facing. We should stand up to this. What I want, Megyn, after something that I saw tonight, I want the president of Egypt. I want the king of Saudi Arabia. I want the imam, or I want Khomeini in Iran to stand up and be counted, and I want them to be counted tonight.
Yeah, well. Will we get leaders of Islamic states to stand up and be counted against ISIS? This was actually one of the criticisms that was offered by a young Christian woman, Yazidi, who was enslaved and persecuted by ISIS. Where are the leaders of Islamic countries speaking out against ISIS? Well, for more on all of this, we're now joined by our friend Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. He is the founder and the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Dr. Jasser, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
So what about, let's start with Lieutenant General Flynn's call for responses from the heads of Islamic states. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I happened to be on the program after him, and what I said last night was that might make us feel better. And, Americans need to understand where these radical Islamists are coming from. And the problem is not just those who are violent, but it is the underbelly. You were saying 5% is a big number. What if I told you 30 to 40% of the Muslim world believes in some form of Islamic State or Sharia state?
Yeah.
So to call upon the Saudis, who basically do the same thing that ISIS does, but they just don't put it on YouTube. They do it in their courtrooms. They have men with long beards with billions of dollars who have a Wahhabi law that they put into effect that's no difference. I mean, they may not take trucks and mow over people in parades in France, but in Saudi Arabia, Muslims like me are put in jail. They're tortured. They're whipped in front of mosques. So these people, I like it when they don't condemn these things because Americans realize they're on that side. Usually they do. And our current narrative is that we're countering violent extremism and that they're with us in the war on terror. It's sort of like asking the white-collar drug distributors of cocaine in Colombia and around the world to help us fight drug violence on the streets of America. They're not going to do that. These guys are distributing the intoxicants. And the only way to do this is for Americans to understand that there needs to be a revolution across the Muslim world against two enemies. One is radical Islam and theocratic Islam. The other is these dictatorships that brew these cauldrons in order to legitimize their dictatorship.
That's a really interesting insight. Yeah.
Last night, Newt Gingrich called for the deportation of Muslims who believe in Sharia law. What's your reaction?
That's ridiculous, and I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, that's not American. It doesn't work. We don't deport people that are here as citizens. What I agree with is immigrants should not be allowed in that agree with Sharia law. We should have our Muslim Reform Movement, for example, has a 2-page declaration that talks about what is assimilation? What is it to reject the caliphate, to reject violent jihad, to reject Sharia? He's right. We shouldn't let it's not a right to come to America. It's a privilege. So, yes, we should use that test he talked about for immigrants. We should use it for anyone who gets a security clearance in America, working at the White House, working at the Pentagon. That should be a test. But we don't deport people who are here. I mean, heck, we have an operative Nazi party, Communist Party in America. There are tons of groups that reject the Constitution and are not American, but yet we give them the freedom because the only way to defeat hate and to defeat our enemies is through the antiseptic of sunlight. If we do what the Egyptians and the Saudis have done, which is to torture and imprison Islamists, it fuels them and then later makes them even more potent because you push them underground.
Just going back to France, the attack in Paris, now the attack last night in Nice. Do we have a bit of a fifth column action going on in France, and should it be instructive to the rest of the West that essentially the threat is not internal? As we understand, the truck driver was a French citizen from Tunisia. So just kind of reinforcing your point about the front-end scrutiny, the front-end vetting, and particularly when we say we can't do it, as is the case with Syrian refugees, that if we don't take that seriously, that front-end vetting, then we have the potential to sow the seeds of our own demise the way that France seems to have done.
Yeah, and it's not only the front end. I would agree. We should. Our American Islamic Forum for Democracy is operating on a budget that's peanuts compared to the Islamist groups of the Council on American Islamic Relations, Muslim Public Affairs Council, the Islamic Society of North America, all these Muslim Brotherhood legacy groups. They grab onto these immigrants and radicalize them over years, and next thing you know, 5-10 years later, they've lost their love for America, and they look upon America as anti-Muslim and bigoted, etc. So there's a process, and Newt in some way is right. Yes, we need to have programs that don't allow these individuals to become radicalized once they're here, because the reason the refugees, I mean, my family were political refugees, and the reason I turned out the way I did was I was taught by my family that I could be more Muslim in America than anywhere else in the world. Unfortunately, that's not a majority opinion in our community. Our community is being dominated by Islamists, and we need to create programs that teach our immigrants what it is to be American, what is the social contract of secular individual rights that are not driven by a single faith community's law. And that's just not happening, and we're losing them. So this is why I think barely 1 out of 100 of those who have committed or tried to commit acts of terror were actually refugees. They're folks that have been here. Nidal Hassan, the Tarnea brothers, Chattanooga shooter, all of them, the San Bernardino shooters, except the wife did come as a refugee, but the other was here.
Orlando.
So the bottom line, the bottom line is that most of them are folks who are here that are getting radicalized because we are letting foreign governments feed institutions in America that tell them that America is against them, and they start becoming what I call Islamo-nationalists instead of American nationalists.
Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, the founder and president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Always a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Dance party canceled at Harvard, of all places. We'll tell you why. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine right now, showers in spots, but not as warm. A high only of 75 degrees. Then the weekend looks pretty good. Tomorrow, a repeat of today, mostly sunny, highs in the mid-70s. And for Sunday, it's going to be breezy and warm with mostly sunny skies. The heat kicks back in, a high near 90 degrees. Any high travel times on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
They are going up. Amy and Dan, Kennedy inbound slow from the River Road toll to Central, at Addison to Damon, 32 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 15 from Montrose, and 10 on the Express. The Ohio feeder is already heavy. Outbound slow Montrose to Harlem, 30 minutes downtown to the airport. The Edens is fine right now. Mount Eisenhower, 41 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 39. The Stevenson is now 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, and outbound 38. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Fisher Ford, stop and go, 159th to Dalton Avenue. Crash into 2 left lanes. Northbound Tri-State slow Archer to the Hinsdale Oasis. Very slow from the Reagan Tollway around Grand Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway heavy. Barrington to Roselle and Meacham to 53. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs, a former oil company lobbyist, tapped to oversee environmental quality in Michigan. A number of key economic reports out today. Those stories next.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. What if you could store your IRA or 401k where you can see, touch, and hold it in person in the form of physical gold and silver coins? I know I would, and you can't do that with stocks. With the Augusta Gold and Silver IRA, you can transfer retirement savings into physical coins and store them where you can actually see them. Free shipping, zero management fees, and Augusta pays all upfront costs. Getting started is absolutely free. Rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau, enjoys a 98% 5-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call toll-free 1-855-222-6993 now for your free guide to Augusta Gold IRAs. Call toll-free 1-855-222-6993. That's 1-855-222-6993 or visit AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
A big day ahead for economic reports. We have the Consumer Price Index, retail sales, industrial production, and consumer confidence. We'll be updating you on our midday report here on this station. In a surprise move, Michigan Governor Rick Snyder has just appointed a former BP lobbyist to lead his state's environmental quality department. Snyder says Heidi Grether has good crisis management skills, will help oversee the ongoing Flint water crisis. And this is the opening day for the all-female reboot of the classic movie Ghostbusters, but executives at Sony Pictures still unsure how widely the film will be distributed in China, where supernatural films are often banned. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hey, if you want to get out of town, escape to Wisconsin, courtesy of our friends at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. The White Lace Inn, it's a gorgeous bed and breakfast in Sturgeon Bay. The White Lace Inn features 18 inviting guest rooms and suites. Enjoy the gardens, gazebo, and the glory that is Door County. A $300 gift certificate, only $150. Hey, if you want to stay closer to home in Wisconsin, go to Milwaukee and go to the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast. A one-night stay there, $85, I should say, for the weekend. Normally $169. So check out all the deals only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock.
Hey,
Sing it.
Hey, turn that happy. That's racist.
What?
That is, turn that off. That's right. That's a hate crime. I didn't realize this, but that's why we have students at Harvard, our best and brightest, to educate us. There was the idea for a 1950s themed dance party.
How fun.
And-
I could see you dressing up and looking like Fonzie, huh?
Are you deaf?
What?
That is a dog whistle. That is a dog whistle. That is racism.
Why do I have to put my poodle skirt away?
The initial response from students, will there be separate water fountains for the formal? Are a couple of black students, are we allowed to even buy tickets? Are we only allowed in this serving staff? It was.
That's what it's come to in America?
Yeah, the 1950s. So maybe, the coasters and the platters and the drifters, all
Plastic
those
covering on the furniture?
all those great bands, all that, but all those great black artists of the 50s. We can't
Or Chuck
celebrate their
Berry.
music, or we
Yeah.
can't celebrate the music of the 50s in general because we had the perniciousness, and it was, of Jim Crow laws. This is why I use the term sentimental barbarians all the time. They're ignorant. They're ignorant Harvard students. They're going to grow up to be ignorant. They think their sentimentality to make some kind of faux stand against Jim Crow by not having a 50s themed sock hop it confers on them some kind of moral superiority. You know what it does really instead, kids? It just displays your ignorance for all to see.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, I want to tell you about my friends at Guardian Security Services. Because here's the deal. If you're unhappy with your door staff or on-site security officers at your business or property, or you're just not receiving the services you were promised, there's no reason to tolerate it. Call my friends right now at Guardian Security Services to discuss your security officer needs. These guys are amazing. They've been Chicago's best for 41 years. They only assign the most professional, highly trained security officers in all of Chicagoland. Their vetting practices are exceptional. If you're finally ready to explore an alternative to your current security officer provider, then doggone it, do it. Pick up the phone right now and schedule a free security assessment with my friends at Guardian Security Services. Tell them me, Joe Walsh, sent you. Right now, call 708-385-3300. Again, 708-385-3300 or online at guardiansecurityinc.com.
Hey, size matters. Look to the Italians. They made it happen. The Colosseum, the Vatican, the Tower of Pisa, and Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli Sandwiches. Yeah! Their signature subs are as big as your forearm, hefty and fully loaded with the highest quality deli meats on artisan bread. Their homemade Italian beef sandwiches are sliced paper thin, using their own family recipe. And if you can't choose between the burgers, wraps, or hand-rolled meatball sandwiches, then get them all. Feed your inner rock star. Eat amongst authentic rock and roll memorabilia while you enjoy the soundtrack of your glory days. Or pick up and go. Either way, Augie's offers fast, fresh, and affordable food. Even gluten-free options. Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, Carroll Stream or West Chicago. Be sure to visit augustinos.com for full menus and directions. And if the party's on at your house, look to Augie's for catering. Don't make it happen with Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Will congressional Democrats stage a sit-in to ban box trucks and large fuel tanks? We'll ask Brett Baer at 7:07.
But first, here's Mike Scott.
Sunny skies, WIND, Chicago News Times, 7 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Dave Anthony.
You walk on the street and there are bodies everywhere. There's blood everywhere.
He was standing in the blood on the red-stained sidewalk in Nice, France, when a man drove a big truck down a crowded sidewalk, zigzagging in as many as he could. He was also firing a gun.
People just were sprinting away from the crowd, and so we were confused and started running, and then just started hearing gunshots.
France is now mourning the at least 84 people killed. 2 of them were Americans, a father and his 11-year-old son from Texas. Dozens more were wounded. Fox's Simon Owens, live in our European bureau.
Dave, France extending again a state of emergency that's been in place since the November attacks in Paris. French President François Hollande
L'horreur de nouveau vient de s'abattre sur la France.
saying once again horror has struck France. He described the incident as having all the hallmarks of a terrorist attack. Police are yet to confirm the attacker's identity. They say he had ID belonging to a 31-year-old local man of Tunisian descent, a man who was known to police but only for minor offences. The driver eventually shot dead by police. The truck windshield left riddled with bullet holes. There's been no claim of responsibility. Dave.
Simon, the White House says the U.S. stands in solidarity with our ally France. Hillary Clinton says this is a war against radical jihadist groups we must win.
We still do not have enough intelligence cooperation between our agencies and those in other countries.
The Democrats' rival agrees it's war, but a very different enemy.
You know, in the old days, would have uniforms. You knew what you were fighting.
Donald Trump says we're being too nice and civil. The Republican says we have to strengthen our borders and not let people in from countries that are terror hotbeds. Now, he was supposed to introduce his running mate this morning, widely expected to be Indiana Governor Mike Pence, but that's been delayed to this weekend. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Partly sunny, 65 degrees, 7:02 is our time on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. French living here in Chicago, residents of the city, and those who celebrate French culture mourning following the deadly Bastille Day attacks at the celebrations in Nice, France. They gathered yesterday near Montrose Beach and were being addressed by Chicago's French Consul General Vincent Floriani, who spoke about the attacks just after arriving at the celebration.
And I would like all of you to have a thought for the victims and the families of the victims, of the people who were killed today in Nice.
Many in the crowd learned about the tragedy at that festivity. Mayor Emanuel unveiling plans, taking the wraps off on a major expansion at O'Hare. 9 new gates added to Terminal 5 by 2019, part of a $300 million project. A Chicago Uber driver accused of sexually assaulting a woman passenger who was intoxicated. Alexander Marrero faces multiple charges, including sexual assault and aggravated kidnapping. Suspected serial rapist who allegedly attacked a woman on the South Side has been sentenced to 70 years in prison for one of those assaults. 31-year-old Chicagoan Kerwin Cross is suspected in that string of attacks. Family of a college student who was shot to death by police has amended a lawsuit claiming actions of the officer who fired those shots amounted to a hate crime. The lawyer for the father of 19-year-old Quintonio LeGrier says the personal texts of Officer Robert Rialmo showed racial bias. However, Rialmo's attorney released copies of the text in which it was Rialmo's friend, not Rialmo, who used racial slurs while conversing with the officer days before the LeGrier shooting. The famous rock and roll club on Chicago's North Side has its future up in the air. Cook County judge ruling yesterday that the Double Door must eventually move out of the building it has occupied for over 20 years near Milwaukee and Damon. The ruling comes after the club's landlord filed eviction papers last fall. Both parties must return to court next month to determine when the Double Door must leave. Texas and the Cubs top our Major League Baseball schedule. A 1:20 start today, while the White Sox take on the Angels. The news is a service of TrueCar. Save time and money by downloading TrueCar's mobile app. Configure the new car you want, see what others paid for it, and get guaranteed savings. TrueCar users save on average over $3,000 off MSRP. Save time, money. Download the TrueCar app today. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity can't believe the president is still bringing in Syrian refugees.
I said that if one person dies as a result of Hillary and Obama's policy, they'd have blood on their hands. I hold them responsible because they're not listening to James Clapper, James Comey, Michael Steinbeck, the House Homeland Security Chairman, and all these other people. They refuse to listen to them.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Focus. You need it to run a business, so don't let legal questions distract you. Use LegalZoom instead. Things like lease agreements and employment laws get complicated, but they're part of running a business. That's why LegalZoom built a network of independent attorneys in 48 states. You can rely on them for the legal details without paying by the hour, since LegalZoom isn't a law firm. So focus on growing your business and use LegalZoom for the legal stuff. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
Chances are you've had a tax problem, or know someone who has, or will have one. Bad taxes can happen to good people. Tax Defense Partners has been in the industry for almost 20 years. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, don't wait. Call 800-684-7777 now. Waiting can risk wage garnishing, compounding fees, interest, and more. Don't fight the IRS alone. Call Tax Defense Partners at 800-684-7777.
You've heard it. Illinois has the highest taxes in the nation. If you own a home, your mortgage payment is going up. Taxes, homeowners insurance are all increasing. This is Barbara Walters, president of Ameritrust. Think about this.
If your mortgage rate is 3.25% or above,
let's lower your mortgage payment. Anne refinanced and saved $649 per month on her mortgage payment. Alice refinanced and she saved $530 per month. And another couple saved $475 per month. No matter what, your mortgage payment is going to increase. Make the call, find out what your savings can be.
Ameritrust Mortgage. Call 815-459-7303, 815-459-7303, or go to am560myhome.com. Ameritrust Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee number 720, NMLS number 217229.
7:07 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. On the south side, there's been a building collapse at 55th and California. Streets are closed in the area. Eden's inbound is great. Outbound, delays from Montrose to Toohey. It's 25 minutes, Montrose to Lakewood. Kennedy, 33 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. A little quicker in the express. Up on 35 minutes. Delays start past Montrose. Eisenhower, 45 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Up on 37. Stevenson, 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, and outbound 38. Ryan is 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford bottled up from just north of 8094 to Dalton Avenue after a crash. North on Tri-State, still in pockets. From Archer to 31st, then from the Reagan to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, still Butterfield to North Avenue due to a southbound crash. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. The latest with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Clouds and sun today with a shower at a few spots with a high of 75. Then a mainly clear night, low 59. Mostly sunny tomorrow, high 78. And at night, patchy clouds with a low 64. Partial sunshine Sunday, high 86. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Sunshine in 65 at O'Hare. Next news 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
We need strong, tough diplomacy, starting with our friends who do everything we need to be prepared to work with each other, to ferret out these terrorists and to prevent future attacks.
Well, it'd be making it very, very hard for people to come into our country, for one thing, from terrorist areas.
I have been unequivocal in condemning any rhetoric directed at police officers.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, we are awaiting word from the White House as to whether or not President Obama will again deploy James Taylor for his folk pop music counteroffensive, like was done after the attack in Paris. You remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, sitting there with John Kerry. Yeah, real serious regime we've got. But we're going to get serious conversation in just a moment for our friend Brett Baer. I want to offer this programming note, though. Fox News report Takeover, the Trump convention, premieres tomorrow at 7 p.m. Chicago time on Fox News Channel. And this is going to be a look at the Republican convention, who will be there, how will it run, how will it affect the election, will it be a big party, or will it be chaos, and we're going to be there to report first person, much like a Shep Smith would next week. So that is going to be heap big fun and very interesting. And for more on the convention as well as the terrorist attack in Nice, we're happy to be joined again by our friend Bret Baier, host of Special Report, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. Chicago time. Bret, thanks for joining us.
Good morning from Cleveland.
Oh, you're already
He's
there.
already there. He's getting ready for the big show.
Well, let's start there then. A couple of big events yesterday, even though the announcement of Mike Pence as Trump's running mate got postponed because of the terrorist attack. But so Pence was part of it, that selection. And then the other part was kind of the internal workings of the party to derail any attempt at a convention coup, making sure through their legislative process that delegates will be bound to Donald Trump on the first ballot, that there is no conscience clause, and that he is going to be the nominee, and at least that part of the convention should be rather uneventful.
Yeah, it ended last night. The Rules Committee finished up, and the Never Trump crew fell, many votes shy of being able to even bring up what's called a minority report, which would enable the delegates on the floor to vote whether they wanted to have this conscience clause. In other words, delegates could vote how they wanted to and not be bound to how the state voted when they voted in the primary. That all fell short, and that pretty much killed the effort. And the Trump people came out, Paul Manafort, and said, this was a big victory. He worked closely with Reince Priebus. So that is dead. Trump will be the nominee. There won't be any problems. What's not, completely solved is the party unity and getting Republicans all on board singing from the same sheet of music. That's part of what the hour is about that we've been working on for a couple months, talking to a lot of people about the future of the GOP in the Trump era.
But doesn't having Mike or Governor Pence as your running mate help with, making social conservatives happy and make for a nicer convention?
It does, and I think that it's a pragmatic choice that I think that Trump got to based on advice. He didn't really know Mike Pence, but short of being able to choose and get John Kasich to sign on, he has this Midwest flavor, an accomplished career, and foreign policy experience, and more importantly, a calming factor for establishment and social conservatives.
Well, and also really for establishment types too. And you mentioned that, but I just kind of want to put some emphasis on it because Pence is a conservative across the board, but he's also, as you mentioned, a former congressman and a governor, and he's kind of an extension of Mitch Daniels' 2 terms as Indiana governor, which really turned around that state. And he's it seems to me his role is going to be kind of a steady hand on the till so Trump can be Trump.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, I mean, he is establishment. Yes, he's in the position of being outside Washington now, but he was a congressman for a decade. He was the head of the House Republican Conference. He was on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. I mean, he knows how Washington works. That's one of the things Trump wanted, is somebody who could get legislation across the finish line. And, Pence does offer that. He also offers, however, he was against the Muslim ban when Trump first came out of it, came out with it. He is a free trader for TPP. So it'll be interesting to see how they work the policy thing. But clearly the character thing and the strengthening up of Trump will let Trump be Trump.
Well, and the other interesting thing, just using that point as a bit of a jump, going back to the GOP platform, it's interesting. So it included the wall, or the border, the border barrier between on our southern border, kind of something that Trump wanted. But it also had essentially a free trade statement of principle, including TPP. So for some, the idea that the Republican Party is going to cease to exist and it's just going to be a cult of personality party with Trump, particularly if he is victorious, and conservatives will be purged from the landscape. That really isn't reflected in the Republican Party platform, which is fairly traditionally conservative.
Yeah, even I would say a little bit more socially conservative as well in the platform flanks. As you know, platforms are blueprints, but they're hardly ever really recognized by the candidate themselves. He sees some victories. I asked him about that the other day, but is not going to sign on to everything in that platform.
Now, it was announced last week the presidential debates, 3 of them, and then a vice presidential debate. Are you going to be a moderator for any of those?
Yeah.
Have you gotten the word yet? Because they're only going to have one moderator, right?
Yeah, one moderator each. We find out what the debate commission decides probably in a couple weeks, the beginning of August.
So did you have to put an application in?
I'm sorry?
Did you have to put an application in to say, hey, I want to be the moderator for one of them?
No applications. They come to you, and they choose the moderators. It's not like they just choose a network and the network gets to choose. They actually choose the person who's doing it. So, hopefully that's we've made our feelings clear that we'd like to obviously do one this year, and I think that would be great because if you look at it, this race, a lot of these states, it's close. Right now, some new polls came out today that Clinton's up in a number of the states, but there are a couple that are surprising. Pennsylvania, Trump up. Michigan, it looks like it's very close there, and those are traditional, not Republican strongholds. So I think the debates, bottom line, are going to matter, and they will be well watched.
There, no question. And do you have to run a stealth campaign against Megyn Kelly and Chris Wallace to be the Fox representative?
No. This is literally, we have no say in it. I mean, it's not like they come to us and say, who do you think? Or our leadership. They say, this is who we want.
All right, who do we need to get to push you and to knock some of these other people out of the box?
Anybody who knows any of the debate commission members?
All right.
Dan, you probably know someone.
And Mike McCurry.
All right, I'll get a list of names. I'm going to get on that, Brett, next week. Don't you worry. We got your back. But before we let you go, in the wake of everything that happened from Dallas forward. Now, another terrorist attack in Nice. This really starts to take form with a little over 4 months before the election of a law and order election, law and order internationally, law and order locally, doesn't it?
It does, and you're going to hear Trump really hit on that. In fact, each night is a theme, and the first night is how to make America safe again. So I think you're going to hear, especially in the wake of what we saw in Nice, a different tone at the beginning of the convention, and I do think that national security is going to drive the day, considering the threat environment we're in.
All right, he is Bret Baier, of course, hosts a special report 5 p.m. Monday to Friday on Fox, and then tomorrow 7 p.m. Central. 7 p.m. Chicago time tomorrow night, the takeover, the Trump convention special report. Who's going to be there? How and will Tim Tebow be there or won't he be there? How will it run? How will it affect the election? And what kind of consternation will occur next week? Brett's going to have it all. Brett, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
So Monday is how to make America safe again. That's the theme. And where's your hat? Are you going to get one?
You still have to get a hat to satisfy a bet you lost.
I know. Oh, I'm all over it, Dan. And we're all over this forecast because it's nice. Plenty of sunshine. Not as warm as we're used to. A high only of 75 degrees. Then tonight, clear, and your weekend looks spectacular. No rain Saturday or Sunday. Saturday, mostly sunny, a high 78. And on Sunday, it's going to get warm again, a high near 90. Anything heating up on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, traffic certainly isn't great on the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Southbound, we see delays from North Avenue to before St. Charles with a crash in the left lane. The bigger delay is northbound from 63rd most of the way to North Avenue, largely a Gapers delay. Edens inbound fine at 19 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose. Eastbound Spur is a little heavy approaching the Edens. The outbound side, it's about a 6-minute delay Montrose to Toohey. The Kennedy, 33 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 40 with the delays from Montrose to Canfield. Inbound Eisenhower, 48 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, up on 37. Stevenson, 47 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, up on 36. Ryan is 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford is a little heavy, 159th to Dalton Avenue after an earlier crash. Northbound Tri-State has delays from the Stevenson to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Hey, if you're looking to secure financing on a new home or if you want to refinance your existing mortgage, then you should do what I did and call David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. Stacy's heard hundreds of David's ads but wanted to contact a realtor before purchasing a home in Plainfield. Bad move. Not getting pre-qualified by David before speaking with a realtor is like sunbathing at the equator without suntan lotion. So David answered Stacy's questions, pre-qualified her to purchase a home, and introduced her to Ron Wexler, his Home Sweet Home Chicago radio show's realtor in Plainfield, to purchase that home. Now, purchasing a home can be overwhelming, but it won't be if you call David first. David can pre-qualify you for free and introduce you to his team of preferred realtors who will locate that perfect home for you. Now, if you're purchasing a home and want to work with a team of real estate experts that will always look out for your financial best interest, call David first, 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. David helped me and thousands of AM560 listeners, but guess what? He can't help you if you don't call him. 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186.
There are two kinds of pain. Pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers in the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we have a text that may have blown this whole case wide open with respect to the Nice attack. Now,
it's changing your world over there because you keep talking about it, but you won't tell me what it says.
Well, this is from Ann B. Davis's bowling ball, and I don't know if he was on the scene, but he said there were guns in the box truck. Can you be certain it wasn't a gun driving the truck and killing people?
Oh.
That's we cannot rule that out.
Well, according to the AP, there were guns and rifles and explosives in the backseat, but they said that they were fake. They were fake guns. The one he was using to shoot people was a .765 caliber gun. I don't know, but the ones in the back of the truck were fake. But he went. You know what? They're finding out whether or not
Zero
he set
tolerance policy.
Yeah, his cruise
fake guns also.
He set his cruise control and just kept going, zigging and zagging and knocking off as many people as possible. 84 dead, 50 injured, and 18 are critical. But we cannot forget to mention that 2 were Americans, Brody and Sean Copeland. Brody, 11 years old, and loved to play baseball, and his dad was a coach of his team.
And, of course, 84 people dead, 50 injured, 18 critically injured, and not making light of it with the talk of guns driving trucks. But unfortunately...
Well, it's a new way to do business.
Well, unfortunately, though, we're left with nothing but ridicule for the political leadership of this country because of how unserious they are about these attacks. Over and over and over again. And what is the response? The response is, without exception, about instrumentality of evil versus evil. And we just talked to Dr. Zuhdi Jasser from the American Islamic Forum for Democracy about state sponsors of terror that fund organizations in this country and in the West generally that are the fomenters of terror because they facilitate the radicalization of young people. America's against you. France is against you. Britain's against you. and generate fifth column actions as what has happened in France. It's the 31-year-old driver of that truck, the murderer, the terrorist who killed 84 people and wounded 50 people, a French citizen, Franco-Tunisian persuasion.
He had dual citizenship in Tunisia and France. But he's from Nice. They said he has no ties to terrorist group that they know of yet, but police officers knew him because of petty crimes that he had committed over the years.
Well, we're going to find out a lot more about him in the coming days, just like we did in Orlando and in San Bernardino and in all of these other instances of radical Islamic terrorist attacks. And I wonder if that picture doesn't fill in a little differently than what we know at this point. I suggest it will. Now, the response from the prospective presidential candidates, because I'm kind of past post on the incumbent president, was interesting. I found the tack they took in the immediacy after the news came over the transom about this attack very interesting. I think they were very different responses. And Hillary was on with Bill O'Reilly. Trump was on with Hannity. With Greta Van Susteren. And Trump, this is before they had even identified the driver of the truck. So this is right after the news came over the wires. Listen to Trump's response, and then we'll play Hillary's.
We're living in a whole different world. There's no respect for law and order. There's no respect for anything or anybody. And this has to be dealt with very harshly. And when I come out with my non-politically correct statements that a lot of people love and some people think are so terrible, and then you have attacks like this and so many other attacks. I mean, let's see what happens with this when it's early to tell. But I would think that perhaps you're not wrong the way you started this question. We have to get awfully tough, and we have to get very, very smart and vigilant. And if we don't, we're just not going to have a society. We're not going to have a world anymore. This is crazy what's going on.
Now, so consider essentially the threat assessment that Trump offers and the implicit cultural commentary in his remarks. Now, Hillary with O'Reilly.
We've got to do more to understand that this is a war against these terrorist groups, the radical jihadist groups. It's a different kind of war. We need to be smart about how we wage it, but we have to be determined that we're going to win it.
Absolutely.
And that's going to require working with other people. We need strong, tough diplomacy, starting with our friends, to do on a bilateral basis with individual countries, collectively with the EU, with NATO and others, to do everything we need to be prepared to work with each other, to ferret out these terrorists and to prevent future attacks.
That's what we need. We need more meetings. We need more diplomacy, because then that rat, you know what he is, wouldn't have jumped in that ordinary white truck and killed 84 people.
World government functionaries unite, I guess, as Hillary's. See, that's why I think the difference was. I think Trump is talking about an existential question about Western civilization, and are we going to continue to live in a free society here and in free societies in the West as we have, largely free societies at least, or is it going to be something very different?
I want more meetings.
And Hillary, her decision was a strategic, her response was a strategic and tactical response, not a cultural response.
It was a robotic response. That's what she says every time. We need more diplomacy. That's what the left always says.
But, I mean, to the extent that this becomes a national security / law and order election, I think you've got a real contrast there. In addition to the respective records, I mean, Trump doesn't really have one. Building hotels in foreign lands doesn't count. And Hillary's is abysmal, the worst Secretary of State in the history of the country, arguably. I think persuasively you could argue that.
No one could tell us what she accomplished.
Including her.
Exactly.
Right. And the approach to kind of the main national security threat that we face, radical Islamic terrorism, I think is rather stark. Quickly, let's get Tim on the West Side. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. I saw this on Twitter last night, so I won't take credit myself, but I wonder if Obama's Democrats will follow suit with their position on guns and push for a ban on trucks now.
That's right. Thanks for the call, Tim. And high-capacity fuel tanks. Because the problem is...
Well, he went more than a mile, probably locked in on a cruise control. So...
The problem is
Eliminate
it's easier for an ISIS terrorist to get a box truck than it is a book.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mark Weingart, President and CEO of Star Creations, Inc., the fastest growing supplier of wall decor products in the U.S. When it comes to banking, I don't want to be a small fish in a big pond. That's why I bank at Signature Bank Chicago. At Signature Bank, every customer is important. I know I can pick up the phone and talk to any one of the decision makers I know and trust at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, they understand and respond to the unique needs of my business with flexibility and fairness. I'm proud to bank with Signature Bank because I know they're deeply invested in the success of Star Creations.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, if you've been putting off purchasing your first firearm or maybe you're adding to your collection, here's a great new offer from Schrank Smoke & Gun. In July only, purchase any store-owned firearm and receive 2 free boxes of range ammo. Such a deal. And the selection is great because Schrank's carries the largest selection of new, used consignment firearms in Lake County, including pistols, rifles, shotguns, hard-to-find calibers, collectibles, and older functioning hunting rifles. Plus, Schrank's has full gunsmith services, so plan ahead for hunting season. Now, if you love cigars like Dan does, check out Schrank's Humidors. Don't miss this July deal of 2 free boxes of range ammo when you purchase any store-owned firearm. Visit smoke_gun.org or call 847-662-4034. Schrank Smoke & Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964. That's 847-662-4034 or online at smoke_gun.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
Author Robert Jones joins us to discuss his new book, The End of White Christian America, 737.
And watch out, that new Pokemon Go app could kill you. We'll explain, but first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Clouds and sun, 68. This morning, an airport in the southern French city that came under attack yesterday is being evacuated as we speak. Bomb squads are being called in. Multiple reports that suspicious packages were found inside one of the arrival terminals at the airport in Nice. Terror investigation underway after a horrific attack on the French Riviera. You heard gunfire there. 84 were killed. More than a dozen injured when a man plowed a semi-tractor trailer into a crowd gathered to watch fireworks on Bastille Day, then jumped out of that truck and opened fire before police returned fire, killing him. Here in America, relatives say a father and son from Austin, Texas are among the victims of that deadly truck attack. Hillary Clinton says it will take a strong international effort to root out ISIS terrorists.
It's terrible that France has faced too much tragedy and violence, and we need to stand strongly with them because events like this remind us how vital it is in every way not to abandon them.
A presumptive Democratic nominee speaking on Fox News, Donald Trump's campaign chairman Paul Manafort believes the likely GOP presidential nominee has made a pick for vice president, but is not ready to officially announce it.
We're going to have an event today. He was moved by what happened last night. It affected him, and emotionally, the carnage in Paris, and the idea that this is just nonstop, and it seems to be happening quicker and quicker in more and more places.
Manafort on Fox News this morning saying Donald Trump thought it would be inappropriate to announce a pick following the truck attack in France. Mayor Emanuel expected to unveil plans today for an expanded O'Hare. With 9 new gates added to Terminal 5 by 2019, it's a $300 million project. And a group of bicyclists riding across the state, raising money for families of Illinois law enforcement who've died in the line of duty. Cycle Across Illinois began yesterday in Alton. The 340-mile-long trek ends Sunday in Woodstock. The news, a service of TrueCar. Save time and money by downloading TrueCar's mobile app. Configure the new car you want, see what others paid for it, and get guaranteed savings. TrueCar users save, on average, Over $3,000 off MSRP. Save time, money. Download the TrueCar app today. 7:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
LiveWatch helps you connect and respond up to 10 times faster in an emergency. LiveWatch has no long-term contracts. Save up to 50% off home security. Call 855-LiveWatch or visit livewatch.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. Best thing I ever got in my. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Ken Pecco.
Hi, and I'm also Ken Pecco.
And we're from Combined Sales. For nearly 50 years, our family has served local businesses just like yours with quality paper, packaging, janitorial, and safety supplies.
We offer products your business can't live without and solutions you didn't know existed.
Like our managed vended inventory, which ensures you'll never run out of the important supplies needed to run your business.
Stretch film is an important supply. Bathroom tissue is an essential supply.
Combined Sales isn't a big box store or warehouse club. We have better customer service and we're competitively priced. You'll have an outside rep, an inside rep, a customer service rep, and a username and password. And that's my promise to you.
This month, Combined Sales is inviting all AM 560 business owners to earn 5% in co-op reward dollars in all new orders for the first 3 months. Place a $500 order and receive a $50 co-op bonus. Request account set up with us at CombinedSales.com. That's CombinedSales.com and start earning today.
Come join the Combined Sales family.
737 Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The eastbound Eden Spur is heavy past Waukegan Road, but past that clear. 19 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. The Kennedy is 35 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 35 as well. Eisenhower, 50 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, 35 from Manheim, outbound 47 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36. Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown, crash at Canalport, the right lane. Tri-State Tollway has northbound delays from the Stevenson to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Veterans Memorial slows southbound Army Trail to before St. Charles after a crash. Northbound 75th most of the way to St. Charles. And traffic is a service of CVS Pharmacy, now at Target. The pharmacy you trust is now in the store you love. The CVS Pharmacy is now at Target. You can expect even more when it comes to your health. Expert pharmacists help with dosage instructions, side effects, and more. Visit CVS Pharmacy, now at Target. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Intervals of clouds and sun throughout the day. Not as warm. High 75, 67 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Empowered Investing, the show dedicated to investors. Heard Saturdays at noon right here on AM 560, The Answer.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And just a quick aside, I mentioned wife-beater Neil Steinberg, Sun-Times columnist. He replied on Facebook to my question as to whether or not
he's going to apply for a CDL.
Well, he was going to go buy or try and rent a box truck and write about it, like he attempted to buy a rifle after Orlando and wrote about it. Neil Steinberg said in response, instantly the Dan Profs of the world were sneering about truck control, too petty and revolting to even bother responding, and what would be the point? Yeah. Neil Steinberg whining about sneering. That is rich. That is rich. Oh, Neil, thanks for the laugh. I appreciate it.
He got to keep his job.
Well,
after he beat his wife.
He's a liberal. Yeah.
Different rules for different people.
Well, it's Sun-Times.
I just had an appearance of impropriety and got canned.
The Sun-Times, I mean, Pravda Midwest. All right, switching gears. This is a book I'm very interested in since it was telegraphed that it was coming out, and it's now out. The author, Robert P. Jones, is the head of the Public Religion Research Institute. And the book is The End of White Christian America, the implications of dwindling religiosity, and particularly in white Protestant, the white Protestant demographic, what that will mean for the future of America. To discuss that, we're happy to be joined by the aforesaid author, Robert Jones. Mr. Jones, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm happy to be here.
So the demographics from some of the reviews I've read of the book that you kind of document, it sounds very similar in some respects to Charles Murray's book, Coming Apart. In this respect, it seems to be a case where the more well-to-do, and this is Murray's book, the more well-to-do don't preach what they practice, in other words, getting married. And it seems we have a situation here as well, perhaps, where older generations of white Christians aren't preaching what they practice, and so the faith isn't being transferred to future generations. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, one of the, I think, stunning things that I came across in the book, and, as a social science researcher, I've been looking at these numbers a long time, and I realized that we had kind of missed the forest for the trees on this issue. We've been listening to the Census Bureau demographers telling us about demographic change had to do with race, but they didn't talk a lot about religion in those cultural changes. And I realized that there had been this massive sea change and indeed a tipping point that we had released, that if we look back just 8 years ago, the country, if you add up all white non-Hispanic Christians in the country, that is, Catholics, Protestants, everyone, non-denominational Christians, we were a 54% majority white Christian country just 2 election cycles ago. Now that number is 47. Well, in 2014 it was 47%, and our most recent numbers have it dropping just a couple of percentage points more to 45%. So we've gone in just 8 years' time from being a majority white Christian country to a minority white Christian country. That's a dramatic sea change over a short amount of time. And as you said, it is disproportionately young people who leaving white Protestant churches, and that includes both the more liberal churches and just over the last decade, this is the new part of the story, even the more conservative evangelical churches have had a hard time hanging on to younger people.
Well, what do these numbers mean for, say, race relations in America?
I think they mean that they're pretty tough, that one of the things we see, for example, over this question of whether well, first of all, I should say that 80% of Christians go to what are essentially monoracial churches. So 90% of churches and 80% of Christians attend monoracial churches. So there's not a lot of mixing there. And when we look at social circles, even if outside of churches, just how many whites kind of, have close friendships with anyone who's non-white. The average white close friendship circle is 91% white. So when it comes to questions of treatment by police, fairness of the criminal justice system, we see these great chasms between white Christians and their black brothers and sisters on this question, 40, 50 percentage points differences in opinion. And then, in some ways it's no wonder because there's not really that many places where they actually can talk to one another.
Well, but isn't this good news? Because as I understand it from the political left, most of the problems in this country are the result of Christian bigotry.
Well, I talk in the book about, exactly this, that, there are certainly people who are celebrating this change, on the left and who are the non-religious and who have negative associations with the religion. But I think, in the end of the book, I cast it as a eulogy, the last chapter of the book, because I think it's really important to remember that there are a great number of people in the country that are really worried about this, right? So the white Protestants who now make up a minority of the country, and I think it's one of the things I hope that the book does, is cast some light on why why some of our debates are so visceral and have an apocalyptic tone. It's because white Christians have been feeling this. I hope this book helps give some numbers to that, and that they really do feel this cultural, social, religious world kind of passing from the scene, and that lends a lot of heat to some of these debates.
Now, you mentioned the book, The Rise of the Tea Party, following the election of our first, African-American president. If Barack Obama, say, were Caucasian, do you think the Tea Party would have grown to the extent that it did?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, certainly I think the reactions there, had something to do with race. I mean, the data, again, this is a data-driven book. The data is not, definitive on this count. But, I mean, I think it's safe to say that again, it's Barack Obama as was one first non-white Protestant, presidents we had. We had, like, John F. Kennedy was a Catholic. But I think sort of this new symbol, the other thing to say matters, and the other thing to say is that we lost our last Protestant justice on the Supreme Court in 2010. And to put that in perspective, out of the 119 justices we've had, 91 of them have been white Protestants. And now we have 0 Protestants. And I think it's these symbols that these changes represent in our elite, institutions that are just one more indication of the sea change that we're experiencing in the country. And I think the country is really struggling to kind of wrap its head around.
Well, and I know you're focused on the Protestants, but I mean kind of the decline of religiosity and faith across the board. I mean, I think the numbers are still 90% of the people believe in God in America, but a fewer percentage are acting in furtherance of that stated belief.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, one of the other stark, numbers in the book is just realizing how many people have left formal religious affiliation, so who claim no religious affiliation. When you say, what is your religion? Are you Protestant? Are you Catholic? Today we have nearly a quarter of the country saying nothing. I claim nothing as my religion. And just as recently as the 1990s, that number was in single digits. So it's nearly tripled just over the past few decades. That, again, and disproportionately among young people. So that's a real sea change.
Just one other question about this. It was interesting in the wake of the Dallas attacks. Greg Gutfeld, who is an atheist or agnostic, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. He's on that intolerable show, The Five, on Fox News Channel, where he tries to be the glib guy. But he said something interesting, which is unusual. He said, in the wake of this, faith has declined in America. And fewer people are religious, and so people replace that with something. And he was essentially referring to grievance politics and identity politics. They replace it with something by affiliating with a protest movement like Black Lives Matter or something else. And he was asked by one of the other panelists, well, so does that mean you're going to reconsider being religious? He's like, no. But something replaces faith in terms of the principles by which you abide your life, the principles that give meaning to your life, your social, the mores that inform your conduct. And if it's not going to be faith, it's going to be something else. And maybe that's part of the deeper conversation we have to have so people recognize the choice they're making.
I think that this is a real question, and it's a question both for individuals, right? So for most of American history, I mean, Protestant churches served this role in the country of kind of integrating a kind of worldview, moral kind of principles, that sort of thing. It is an open question, I think, with the decline of those churches, what's going to play that role? And then at the civic realm, I kind of borrow this term from E.J. Dionne at the Washington Post. He said that, white Protestant churches as institutions, cultural institutions, have provided what he calls kind of civic glue, in public life, so that when we have, like, appeals like Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail or Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address at these moments of crisis in the country, they have drawn on this language, this kind of, Protestant Christian language, to really help the country process it. And, as we're moving away from kind of one shared set of kind of cultural values even a kind of civil religion. I think one open question and one real challenge for democracy in the country is what is going to play that role of kind of holding things together and serving as a kind of common language for the country as a whole.
And it's also the Protestant work ethic, which Max Weber wrote about. That's another component part of it. But he is Robert Jones. He's the CEO of the Public Religion Research Institute. The book, The End of White Christian America. Looking forward to delving into that. Robert Jones, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
2 men fall off a cliff. Man crashes car. Woman trapped in graveyard. What do they all have in common? What were they all doing? The answer coming up. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine right now. Not as warm as we're used to. A high of 75 degrees, and your weekend looks spectacular. No rain in the forecast. Just sunny skies tomorrow. A high of 78, and on Sunday, breezy, warm. A high of 86. Anything breaking on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
How about a building collapse, Amy? On the south side, 55th and California. And California is blocked, and 55th and 56th. And eastbound 55th is closed at California as well. Eden's inbound 21 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound it's 30. The Kennedy with delays starting at Montrose. 35 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. The Eisenhower is a 50-minute drive. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 47. Stevenson, 50 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 36. Bryan is 23 minutes. 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Stevenson to 31st. Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Veterans Memorials, though southbound Army Trail to before St. Charles after a crash. And northbound, it's slow in pockets from 75th up to St. Charles. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Every day seems like such an ordeal to get moving and focused. Caffeine used to do the trick, but now stops working around mid-morning. It's like there's a lead weight around your neck. And as the day goes on, you get slower and slower and slower. You need Kyojo, the most advanced hydration supplement on the market today, with patent-protected ingredients that hydrate your body and enhance your mind. Caffeine's got nothing on this stuff. Kyojo is a pH-balanced blend of electrolytes, antioxidants, vitamins, and amino acids that are 100% natural. No artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners, no caffeine or stimulants, and no worries. Improve your focus and clarity of mind, increase energy and physical performance, enhance memory, and reduce mental stress with a boost in mood. Feel great with the on-the-go single serving stick packs that fit in your purse or pocket. Need a boost? Just open and add to water for a great-tasting beverage. Get Kyojo online at Kyojo.com. Enter coupon code Kyojo10 at checkout for 10% off. That's KIOJO.com.
I'm Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity. I prefer to describe Jim Comey as a career prosecutor rather than simply the current FBI director. It's his time as a Deputy United States Attorney General and as U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York that makes his decision to be forever remembered as just another Clinton Incorporated cleaner that much more shameful. Such is the pull of the Beltway big government ruling class. Comey's informed deference to politics prompted him to create for Hillary Clinton's exclusive use a new ignorance of the law exemption to complying with federal law. Don't believe me? Try it the next time you're accused of even a technical violation of a truly unknowable diktat from any of the alphabet soup appendages of the administrative state. After such an attempt, you better call Saul. So the Diogenes search in D.C. continues, but so does the slave rebellion in the hinterlands. I am Spartacus.
Hi, I'm Carl Deichler, the CEO of Beachbody, and I'm here to tell you about an amazing new way you can start losing weight for free right now. You've probably seen our workout DVDs on TV like P90X, Insanity, and 21 Day Fix. We just launched a beta trial of our new digital video platform, Beachbody On Demand. So while we're testing out this new digital video service, I'm inviting you to use it for free for 30 days. That means you can lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, even 30 pounds without paying a dime. Text the word TRIAL to 303030 and you can do 30 days of P90X, Insanity, or any of over 400 workouts for free. Now here's the catch. In return, all I ask is you let us know what you think of the service so we can make Beachbody On Demand the best fitness and weight loss site ever created. Just text TRIAL to 303030 and get started for free right now. Again, text TRIAL to 303030.
Message and data rates may apply. Membership fees apply after 30-day free trial. Cancel anytime.
AM 560, The Answer.
Are you playing Pokemon Go over there? You keep looking at your phone.
No, I am not. I leave
Responding
that to
to-
you and your friends.
Well, my friends being my son, yesterday we caught a number of characters. See, here's the goal. You try and catch all 151 characters, and Pokemon Go uses GPS, and it requires players to get outside and find these characters. So we got a bunch yesterday, and I don't know if you want me to pronounce it, but so many people are looking at their phone that they're falling off cliffs in San Diego. A man crashed his car in New York while he was playing Pokemon Go, and a woman was trapped in a graveyard. She walked into the graveyard, then they shut it down, and she freaked.
So I get to the graveyard to catch some Pokemon, you know.
Calling
and go to the
911.
gym, right? Well, you know, I'm in the graveyard. Let's see, the gate was open because, you know, I got in here. The gate is closed, and I'm trapped in the graveyard, and I have tears coming down my eyes because I'm freaking out. I called 911 to come open the gate. Bruh, this is...
Okay.
Her version of crime. Eventually, they did let her out. They didn't give her a fine because it was trespassing.
Everybody's talking about Pokemon Go, even.
Hill Dog? Wait, does she
even
have
this, even this person.
Does she have a Me Too or Zapatos?
Because we're going to have a lot of jobs from building infrastructure to coding, creating new apps. I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
I know it's hard to be old and try to be hip, but if you hatch eggs, do you understand about hatching eggs on Pokemon? You have to walk 2 kilometers to get the eggs. So now people are starting to exercise. So maybe she could walk a little bit and get the booty down.
Please, old lady, stop trying to be current, and Hillary too.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
Many people think the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians is a conflict over a piece of land, but it's about much more than that. Fundamentally, it's a conflict between two perspectives on how human beings should live and treat each other. On one side, you have Israel, which, like other Western nations, respects the rights of its people to pursue their own lives and happiness, speak their mind, and keep their property. On the other side is Palestine, which systematically oppresses its population, including women, gays, and other minority groups, using violence to silence free speech. I am proudly pro-freedom, and that's why I stand for Israel. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brooks Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
Safety. If you know me, you know how seriously I take it. I live, eat, and breathe safety. In fact, safety is my middle name. I went to the DMV and changed it last week. First name, Mr., middle name, Safety, last name, exclamation point. When it comes to safety, Grainger's got my back. They've got over 100,000 safety products. Grainger helps keep our facility safe and our people safer. Call clickgrainger.com/safety or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, if you're a regular listener to Chicago's Morning Answer, you've heard us talk about Turnkey IT, Chicagoland's leading IT service provider for small businesses. Well, Turnkey provides world-class support and customizable plans for businesses that have 5 to 100 users. With sub-programs, you get all new equipment, free security, and antivirus protection. Sound good? Then why haven't you called Turnkey IT? Well, here's Turnkey IT's best offer yet. Through the summer, all AM 560 listeners will receive their first month of service for just $1. That's right, for just $1. Ready to make the switch? It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro now. That's turnkey.pro and tell them AM 560 The Answer sent you so you can focus on the important things and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Obama says it's time for the news with Mike Scott.
WIND Chicago News Time, 8.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Dave Anthony. He was just a boy on a European vacation when what looks like terror struck Nice, France. And Brody Copeland and his father Sean from Texas were the two Americans killed as a man drove a big truck a mile down a busy sidewalk, zigzagging, mowing people down, killing at least 84.
I saw people running in fear and people yelling, run, and, there's an attack, etc.
I was standing in blood, didn't even realize it. My wife told me.
Police finally shot and killed the driver. Fox's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, the attacker's identity hasn't been confirmed, but unofficially, police are saying they believe he was a 31-year-old French-Tunisian man known to police as a petty criminal. It's not known if he was acting alone. The killing's coming on Bastille Day, the French National Day. The French government saying it will now extend again a state of emergency imposed after the November attacks in Paris. Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve saying we are at war with terrorists who want to strike us at any price and in a very violent way. Dave?
Now, Simon, President Obama and other world leaders have condemned the French carnage. Hillary Clinton says
this is a war against these terrorist groups, the radical jihadist groups.
And the Democrat says we have to win it. Donald Trump says,
what are we doing? We're trying to be so nice. We're trying to be so civil. We're so weak. The world has got to strengthen up, and we have to be very tight with our borders.
Trump and the Republicans have their convention next week in Cleveland.
Security officials here have two big concerns. There is terror, and there are protesters who recently have indicated that they are willing at times to get violent.
Fox's Peter Ducey standing next to a concrete barrier. Those have been put up around streets and sidewalks in the convention site to prevent the kind of attack that happened in France last night. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Clouds and sun, 68 degrees in Chicago, 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer, good morning. I'm Mike Scott. French residents living in Chicago mourning following the deadly attacks during the Bastille Day celebrations in Nice. Chicago's French Consul General Vincent Floriani spoke yesterday with those celebrating Bastille Day at Montrose Beach.
I would like all of you to have a thought for the victims and the families of the victims, of the people who were killed today in Nice.
Many in the crowd learned about the tragedy as the Consul General spoke at the festivities. Mayor Emanuel expected to take the wraps off today of a major expansion project at O'Hare. 9 new gates added to Terminal 5 by 2019. It's a $300 million project. Authorities say a man found dead in the trunk of a burning car near Joliet had been shot. The victim's body was discovered yesterday near the corner of Patterson and Brandon Roads, an autopsy revealing he died of a gunshot wound to the head. A spokeswoman for Governor Bruce Rauner says a new report that Illinois will build up to an $8 billion spending deficit this year shows the Republicans' agenda for changing the state's business climate is necessary. The Legislative Commission report, first issued to the Associated Press, showed that spending in the stopgap budget deal approved in June will simply exacerbate the state's money problems, with expenses outstripping revenues by nearly $8 billion. Illinois Comptroller Leslie Munger said yesterday Illinois' backlog of bills could rise to more than $10 billion by the end of this year. Chicago sports. Baseball's second half gets underway as the struggling Cubs take on Texas at 1:20. White Sox on the West Coast taking on the LA Angels. The news, a service of Staples with everything you need for back to school at the lowest prices, period. With their 110% price match guarantee, price match plus the 10% difference discount valid at checkout for the items from retailers operating online and in retail stores. See store or staples.com for details. Staples make more happen. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network, a service of Turnkey.pro, here's Carol Zimmer.
From the Fox Business Network, U.S. stock futures are flat. Yesterday, both the Dow and the S&P hit record highs. Shares of the Swiss company Swatch Group dropping as the watchmaker reported a collapse in first-half profit, reflecting a softness in the luxury market. Swatch, which also makes Omega watches, said earnings fell 50 to 60%. You might think that Nintendo is the company to invest in after the huge success of Pokemon Go, but one analyst has a sell rating on the stock. Jay Defabau says Nintendo may get little direct profit from the game because it was developed by Niantic Labs, a spin-off of Google, and the Pokemon Company. Nintendo owns 32% of that company. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Carol Zimmer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
Well, I had back pain for the last 40 years. 4 days after I started taking this stuff, it's gone.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
Life can be unpredictable. That's why you should take control of your family's future now with an estate plan bundle from LegalZoom. Not sure whether you need a last will or a living trust? LegalZoom's network of independent attorneys in 48 states can help you decide which one's right for you without billing by the hour, since LegalZoom isn't a law firm. Plus, updating your estate plan as your family and assets grow couldn't be easier. Enjoy your life. Use LegalZoom for the legal stuff. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
Chances are you've had a tax problem, or know someone who has, or will have one. Bad taxes can happen to good people. Tax Defense Partners has been in the industry for almost 20 years. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, don't wait. Call 800-684-7777 now. Waiting can risk wage garnishing, compounding fees, interest, and more. Don't fight the IRS alone. Call Tax Defense Partners at 800-684-7777.
8:07 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Let's get the very latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Eden's delays start on the spur just past Waukegan Road and continue most of the way to Tower. There's some tire debris reported. 22 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, out on 26. Inbound Kennedy, delays start at Keeler. 41 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 31 from Montrose, 25 on the Express. Outbound 43 minutes to the airport. The Eisenhower's an hour from Thorndale to downtown and 38 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 50 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 50 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 38, the crash at LaGrange Road in the left lane. Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go from the Stevenson to Plainfield Road. The left lane is blocked there with a medical emergency, and slow from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Veterans Memorial goes southbound Army Trail before St. Charles after a crash. Northbound 63rd most of the way to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, intervals of clouds and sunshine with a shower in spots. High of 75. Tonight, mainly clear, low 59. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high of 78. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
70 degrees at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
We need strong, tough diplomacy, starting with our friends who do everything we need to be prepared to work with each other to ferret out these terrorists and to prevent future attacks.
Well, it'd be making it very, very hard for people to come into our country, for one thing, from terrorist areas.
I have been unequivocal in condemning any rhetoric directed at police officers.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So where is the front line in the war on terror, the war against radical Islamic terrorism? Sebastian Gorka, our friend, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, counterterrorism expert, he told us where it is yesterday on Hannity's program.
I want to send a very clear message to all Americans. You are on the front line of this war. It's not just the people who wear the cloth of the Republic or who carry a badge or a gun. It's the soccer moms at the soccer game. It's the people picking up their groceries at the grocery store. It's those American kids in a concert, an American concert in downtown Paris or at a Christmas party in San Bernardino. There is no front line on this war. The front line is when you leave your house in the morning. That's the front line. And this is the reality. The enemy has a plan. The enemy is dedicated. And I know one thing, Sean, and you know this as well as I do. If the political correctness continues, we will see attacks like this in America. They will continue to bring the jihad to our shores. We have now 100, it's gone up since we last spoke. We have now killed or arrested 107 ISIS individuals on U.S. soil since the caliphate was declared.
Yeah.
But is that enough, 107? 312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line.
Yeah, the point is that enough? The point is that he's kind of giving you an indication of the scale of what we're facing, in addition to what we know to be true, that the FBI has investigations in all 50 states, more than 1,000 open investigations that are Islamic terrorism related. And so this speaks to another issue that was raised yesterday because President Obama and one of the cute little kids from the ABC News staff.
David Muir.
Yeah.
He's the head anchor now.
Oh, is he?
Remember Peter Jennings passed away.
Good for him. Oh, he's a big boy now.
He is.
He hosted a town hall on guns with President Obama.
Yeah, it was a race relations town hall, and people from all walks of life were there. I mean, you had victims of gun violence. You had family members of the loved ones who've been killed. You had police officers, and they all came together. And President Obama, wow. A little off topic, he was talking about the right to carry and about the Second Amendment and how things could have gotten worse in Dallas. Take a listen.
Now, the truth is that the politics of firearms and having a conversation about this right now is very difficult. In the Lieutenant Governor's home state, you've got open carry laws. It is a testament to the professionalism of the Dallas Police Department that more people did not get shot, because when the snipers started shooting, you had people in the protests who were carrying long rifles.
Yeah, and they were law-abiding citizens, Obama.
That's Mr. President.
Excuse me, President Obama.
So I have a follow-up question for President Obama.
Okay,
I'm
yes,
sure,
you in the red shirt.
I'm sure David Muir asked this, so I feel silly asking a question I have no doubt David Muir asked. Why didn't they shoot? They had long guns. I mean, the police were scrambling. There were more individuals than there were police officers, at least initially, and they were trying to deal with a sniper picking off police officers. So why didn't those other people shoot?
I know that one that was interviewed by WAFF who had a gun. I don't know if he had a long rifle, but he had an open carry license. He said, I didn't trust myself. I mean, the shots were coming. I didn't know where they were coming from, and it was safer just to duck and hide and run away, and help work with police.
Right. So is it lucky, or is it that you had a responsible gun owner who understands one of the first things you learn with responsible gun ownership is do not point your gun at anything you don't intend to shoot. And so I'm not pointing my gun wildly around until I identify a target to shoot. And I'm not going to open fire, much less, until I identify a target to shoot. Is that more likely the explanation for why there was not civilian return fire? Or is it just serendipity?
He ripped on all the people who live in Texas for having open carry. and the lawmakers in Texas for having open carry.
And then there was Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
No relation to Mr. Enfuego from SportsCenter.
The other Dan Patrick.
The other Dan
That's what I
Patrick.
call him.
He asked a question about President Obama. He wanted two things from him. Do you really have police officers back? That was his question. And then he also, can you turn the blue lights on at the White House? You've done that for other groups.
Yeah,
why not do it as a message to police officers throughout the nation? Here's part one of Obama's response to Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
I have been unequivocal in condemning any rhetoric directed at police officers. So I think, Lieutenant Governor, you'd have to find any message that did not include a very strong support for law enforcement in all my utterances dating back to Ferguson.
Oh, really?
Because I relied on law enforcement to protect me and my family, just like everybody else does. So I appreciate the sentiment. I think it's already being expressed. But I'll be happy to send it to you in case you missed it.
Oh, yeah, a little shot at the end.
Ooh.
So here's the thing. Is that accurate, that he has been unequivocal in his support for law enforcement? Is that an accurate statement from the Beer Summit forward?
You had Ray McKesson, Black Lives Matter paid protester at the White House 2 days ago, or was it yesterday?
Has he always been unequivocal in his support for law enforcement? 312-642-5600. And is it one thing to say, I support law enforcement, they protect my family like they protect other families? But
he's got a different type of law enforcement to help protecting him and his family than I do for mine.
Well, I understand, but then if you say that and then you turn around and you lionize Michael Brown in Ferguson, and you make overtures to the families of an Alton Sterling
or
Philandro Castile, both of whom, and he also went on to say, police, like everyone else, entitled to due process. But you're making the overtures now, and it turns out, as we're getting more information on both of those police-involved shootings from last week, both had extensive criminal records, including weapons charges, assault charges. The video was the video, but there's additional contextual information, particularly about Castile, because he matched the description of a robbery suspect.
Isn't Black Lives Matters really just a rush to judgment, like about feelings rather than facts?
Well, it's funny you say that because President Obama took up the data argument. So I'm unequivocal in my support of law enforcement, but we have this problem based on the data, said the president.
The data shows that there are disparities in terms of how persons of color and whites are treated in the aggregate. That doesn't mean in any individual case there's discrimination. It just means that across a lot of different situations there are discrepancies, and that those aren't good for building trust or making people feel as if they are being treated fairly, and that's not good for police either. And what I've said is we have to address that.
I have a follow-up question, Mr. President. Mr. President,
you in the red shirt.
I'm sure David Muir is going to ask this because he's on the stick, but in case he doesn't, for whatever reason, because he's got a lot of balls to juggle there. What data points specifically? Give me the specific statistics.
You're asking for attribution?
I want specific statistics, and I want to understand because the data presents discrepancies along race, does it necessarily mean that is the result of unfairness or unfair treatment or unequal treatment before the law? Because we had this very discussion with Heather McDonald, the author of War on Cops, yesterday, and we've had this discussion generally many, many times, particularly in high-profile police-involved shootings. And I know he likes to settle the arguments by saying whatever position he has, that's over. Everybody agrees with his position, and the discussion is over. It's not over. So I'd like to hear specifically what data points he's referring to and his interpretation of that data because, of course, he's the most dizzying intellect Western civilization has ever seen. So I'd be fascinated to hear his opinion. And I'm fascinated to hear the opinions of some of our friends in the listening audience, like Phil on the Northwest side.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and Amy. You know, it'd be nice if we just defund all these people, stop giving them welfare, stop giving them grants and loans and all kinds of incentives, stop giving them guns and missiles and nuclear bombs and everything else, and then they'd have to go to work like everybody else because, you know, they keep talking about how he wants to disarm us and we should stop carrying guns, but the terrorists shouldn't stop carrying guns, and we'll still give them more money, billions if millions aren't enough, and it never stops.
Thanks for the call, Phil. Oh, Bill on the West Side.
Yeah, how you doing? You know, I just had the three cases that keep coming up all the time are Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, and who was the third one there? And Eric Gardner. Out of those three cases, all of them were investigated and found that the police officers involved were not at fault, and they actually performed a good duty. And people constantly keep bringing that up, and I just don't understand why don't they question Obama about, well, you bring these up like the police officers did something wrong, or on the ESPYs that was a racist, you know, a biased statement or a racist move that the police officers did, and it's not correct. I mean, it went to a jury. I mean, they went to the grand jury with that and chewed on it for 60 days and came out with their verdict and said that the police didn't do anything wrong.
Well, thanks for the call, Bill, and that's right. How about Freddie Gray? We got 3 up and 3 acquittals.
There's another decision going to be rendered today, too.
And there are going to be more acquittals. We have George Zimmerman. What happened to George Zimmerman? Acquitted. Not a police officer, but
a cop wannabe.
But that was a case that President Obama felt compelled to intercede and comment on.
Yeah, he inserted himself and said, if I had a son, he would be Trayvon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's rich. He's again quick to rush to the side of African Americans that he, I believe, thinks are being wrongly prosecuted or targeted by police because of the color of their skin.
One of the questions I would ask, I would have asked if I was at the town hall, which I should have been.
Yes, you in the red shirt.
I should have been the what's his name? Muir?
David Muir, pretty boy.
Yeah.
You guys kind of look alike. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, pretty boy. Well, thank you. One of the other questions to ask.
Yes.
Talk about police as this monolith, and you want to talk about race relations. So let's talk about racial composition of police forces. So when you make these sweeping charges against police and you offer these sweeping statements about police, what about the 6,000 nearly police officers in the Chicago Police Department who are minorities? What about the nearly 4,000 who are African-American police officers? Do you think they care when Walter Scott gets shot in the back in South Carolina or Trayvon Martin gets shot 16 times? Of course they do. And do you also think they care when police officers are treated improperly in the court of public opinion and found to have done nothing wrong once all the facts were out in a court of law, like as the case in Darren Wilson and Michael Brown in Ferguson? I'd like to hear President Obama's response to that, and I'll never hear it. Eric in McHenry. Hey, Eric.
You got to listen to his statement very, very carefully. He said he supports police officers since Ferguson, not since the beer summit. So
that's true. Yeah.
So I find it really interesting, though. Hillary Clinton says that Trump should get rid of his Twitter account because he shoots from the cuff, and here we got Obama pretty much doing the same thing. So
thanks for the call, Eric. More of your calls after this.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
More of your phone calls, but also what President Obama had to endure as a young African-American child. But first, here's your forecast today. Plenty of sunshine, not as warm, a high of 75 degrees. And then over the weekend, it looks spectacular. Mostly sunny tomorrow, a high of 78. And on Sunday, the heat and humidity return. We'll have partly sunny skies, a high near 90. Any high travel times? Here's Jim Telemonte with the answer.
In general, no, Amy. The Edens is now 19 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, so it's pretty clear. A little heavy on the eastbound spur, though, starting past Waukegan Road. Outbound, slow Montrose to Foster, 26 minutes Montrose to Lake Cook. Kennedy, 41 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 31 from Montrose, 25 on the Express. Outbound 16 minutes to Montrose, 43 to the airport. The Ike, 1 hour, Thorndale to downtown, 38 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 43 minutes to Thorndale. The Stevenson is 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 40. Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive's pretty light, just a little slow southbound 18th to the Stevenson. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Stevenson to Plainfield Road, the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Adams Tollway heavy Elmhurst to Lee, westbound 59 to Beverly. Veterans Memorial slow 63rd to the Reagan Tollway, and from the Army Trail Toll to Army Trail where there's a crash in the left lane. Northwest Indiana's good. Jim Talamonte, Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Rolling hills, beautiful prairies. You can take it all in when you play golf at Golf Club of Illinois in Algonquin. Play at one of the finest golf courses in Illinois with a special seasonal deal from ChicagoRadioDeals.com. The Golf Club of Illinois is a classic link-style course featuring high grasses, sand bunkers, strategically placed mounds on each hole. This course is a stern test for all skill levels and is consistently ranked among the top 10 public courses to play by Chicagoland Golf. Find out why Golf Club of Illinois is a secret favorite for those looking for a unique, challenging round of golf. Play with your favorite foursome or golf buddies for only $95. That includes cart. It's usually almost $200, so that's a great deal. Or for the dedicated golfer, tee up the preferred player membership, normally $380, only $165 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Highland Park Ford Lincoln's in the house. Here's Alan Marty.
For 30 years, we've been making people happy with incredible deals and service.
We're the best Ford Lincoln dealers in town.
Because making people happy makes us happy.
No doubt. This is one happy place.
Heck, we just break into dance all the time.
We don't break into dance at the dealership.
Sure we do.
No, we really don't.
We could. Come on, Marty, dance with me.
The Highland Park Ford Lincoln Superstore. Call 1-800-984-9000 or go to alanmarty.com.
Admit it.
Okay, you're a lovely dancer.
Thank you. This is Alan Marty. Deal with us.
Here's some great news. Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates can help you with your retirement game plan. You know Jack, or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Tabota & Associates. He's been helping folks just like you retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
AM 560, The Answer. Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Amy, you have some model and Obama stories you want to share?
Yeah, last night at the race relations town hall, somebody asked him if he'd ever been discriminated against, and he said when he was 10 years old, he lived in a condo on a high-rise with his grandparents, you know. And,
moving on up.
Yeah, and so he got on the elevator, and he said one of his neighbors got off the elevator because he got on the elevator. And he said he thinks that that's because of him being an African-American, that's why she got off the elevator. They lived on the same floor, so then he said he watched her go up a different elevator. Real,
wow, boy,
harrowing tales. And then also he said when he was a state rep in Illinois, state senator, excuse me, he walked by a car once and he heard them click because they locked the doors. And he thought that they clicked the car because he was African-American.
Wow, that's a real Horatio Alger story, what he has overcome. Has he ever been, follow-up question, has he ever been discriminated for? You know, like his entrance to Harvard. Let's go to Bob in Wheeling. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan. Every once in a while you say if somebody's having a debate, you should propose, an equally the opposite outlandish position. And I would say to the racially biased organizations, well, what if the police one day decided that they're not going into crime-ridden areas or areas where they could get hurt, and then so they don't police these areas, and then what would the people say that now they've lost all of their protection? Then would they still be complaining?
Yeah, right. Thanks for the call, Bob. I mean, that's kind of the thing. Black Lives Matter, you agitators, what do you want? What's the end game here? Because I think that they don't necessarily speak for a lot of
African Americans.
A lot of families that live in some of these shooting galleries, like on the west and south sides of Chicago, that are happy to have police protection and would like more, frankly.
And keep in mind, some of those protesters are paid. Hello.
Tom and Shanahan.
Yeah, going back to what you guys were saying about the open carry, I'm wondering if you guys feel the same way about the Dallas police chief as you do about the President of the United States, considering the Dallas police chief himself said that having all those people in the crowd makes it very difficult to tell who the good guys are from the bad guys once the shots start firing.
Yeah, so?
So are you going to rip the Dallas police chief the way you do Obama, or does your hypocrisy no bounds?
Yeah, Tom, get a hold of yourself. Yeah, I know. So I know you're upset. I know. So here's the thing about that. President Obama said specifically it was lucky, imputing ill motives of law-abiding gun owners. The Dallas police chief saying what is true, that it's difficult in that kind of situation, particularly a chaotic situation, to tell the difference. But one way to tell the difference is
pointing weapons at police officers,
correct.
Except for the shooter, and he shot them.
That's one way to tell the difference.
Yes, that's a big difference.
I respect the job the Dallas police chief, Mr. Brown, is doing. I don't respect the job because he is trying to tamp down racial discord, and he's not taking the bait to be a politician with respect to these matters. He's focusing on law enforcement and the case at hand. That is markedly different from President Obama. So it turns out, Tom from Shanahan, as is always the case with our leftist friends, your hypocrisy knows no bounds.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
On AM 560, The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
You know MJ Miller and Company as the jeweler to trust when trading in unwanted gold, precious metal, and diamonds. But did you know they also sell gold, coin, and bullion? This is important. Due to uncertainty in the market, gold prices are on the rise, and so are the scams. Choosing the right gold dealer is almost as critical as the item itself. Perhaps you're considering moving part of your nest egg into a proven investment vehicle, or maybe you'd like to leave a tangible inheritance, one that will appreciate over time. Entrust MJ Miller with this important purchase and rest easy knowing you are paying a fair price for your golden investment. Of course, MJ Miller is still buying unwanted metal and will write you a check on the spot. MJ Miller and Company is located at 123 West Main Street in downtown Barrington. They're open Monday through Friday until 6, Saturday until 5, and every Thursday until 8. 847-381-7900 or mjmillerjewelers.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Trump and Pence, easy for me to say. We'll talk about the prospects for that ticket with David Freddoso from the Washington Examiner at 8:38.
And not again. Mick Jagger about to have his 8th child with a woman in her what? Her what? Her 20s.
I can't wait to hear about the happy couple.
But first, I'm pulling for them. Here's Mike Scott.
Clouds and sun, 70 degrees. 8:32 is our time, and the terror attack in Nice has that nation in France on edge and in mourning as a man drove a semi-tractor trailer through a crowd of people celebrating Bastille Day, killing 84, injuring more than 50.
I was terrified. I put my hand on the baby's mouth so she wouldn't scream because I thought if the shooter's close, hopefully he thinks we're laying dead and we're not alive, so he won't come and shoot us.
A Texas man, his 11-year-old son from Austin, Texas, among the dead. One of the men mentioned as a possible Donald Trump running mate is speaking out about yesterday's deadly attack in southern France. Army Lieutenant General Michael Flynn.
We're going to find that there's a big connection here to the radical groups that espouse this ideology. There will be ties that go all throughout Europe, or go all throughout North Africa, back into the Middle East.
Guns, grenades, and other weapons have been reported now to been found in the back of that semi-tractor trailer. Hillary Clinton says It will take a strong international effort to root out ISIS. She spoke with Fox News last night.
To do everything we need to be prepared, to work with each other, to ferret out these terrorists and to prevent future attacks.
Newt Gingrich, also a possible vice presidential running mate for Donald Trump, says Americans of Muslim background should have to take loyalty tests.
Western civilization is in a war. We should, frankly, test every person from here who is of a Muslim background, and if they believe in Sharia, they should be deported.
The former GOP Speaker of the House believes that Muslims who believe in Sharia law are due further observation. Mayor Rahm Emanuel expected to unveil plans for an expansion at O'Hare. 9 new gates added to Terminal 5 by 2019. The suspected serial rapist who allegedly attacked women on the South Side has been sentenced to 70 years in prison for one of those assaults. 31-year-old Chicagoan Kerwin Cross is suspected in a string of attacks in 2013. And the future of a famous rock and roll club on Chicago's North Side is up in the air. Cook County judge ruling yesterday that the Double Door must eventually move out of the building it has occupied for over 20 years near Milwaukee and Damon. Chicago sports, back at it for our baseball clubs. Cubs take on Texas while the White Sox visit the Angels. The news service of Napa Auto Parts this month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. The full family of Castrol motor oils is on sale. Pick up Edge Synthetic, GTX High Mileage, or GTX Conventional to keep your car running longer and stronger for less. That's Napa know-how. 8:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing during the decline in the U.S. economy, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-273-0135. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-273-0135 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-273-0135 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-273-0135.
I am so glad I did it. I'm just mad at myself for waiting so long. Hi, Amy Jacobson here for CertaPro Painters. You know, our front porch had chipping and peeling. It looked old and run down, but thanks to CertaPro Painters, it looks brand new again. And trust me, my neighbors are happy I did it. And you know, it's not too late to book that painting project. But don't wait. Be sure to get on CertaPro Painters' summer painting schedule today. Call 800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. You know, CertaPro Painters will work around your busy schedule to get your home looking picture perfect for all your summer entertaining. That's why CertaPro Painters says we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, it's not too late to get that painting project off your to-do list. Call now, 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA, or visit CertaPro.com today.
8:37 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Let's get the very latest now with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the Edens, outbound traffic is stop and go from Montrose to Foster with a stall in the left lane. 28 minutes Montrose to Lake Cook. Inbound 19, but the spur is heavy past Waukegan Road. Inbound Kennedy, 40 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 30 from Montrose, same on the Express. Outbound 41 minutes to the airport, the Eisenhower. An hour and 5 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. 35 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 45 to Thorndale. Stevenson is 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 51 after a crash at LaGrange Road. Ryan, 23 minutes, 95 to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow from the Stevenson to Plainfield Road and from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Eastbound Adams Tollway heavy, Elmhurst Road to Lee. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, clouds and sunshine today. We'll call it more sun than clouds. Not as warm, high 75. 70 right now. Next news coming up at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MyPainChicago.com. World-class treatment for chronic pain. Go to MyPainChicago.com.
Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, I was just thinking of this. You ever see the movie Maximum Overdrive, Stephen King book turned into a movie?
No. I don't see a lot of movies. I'm Amish.
I think that's what President Obama is going to use as his explanation for what happened in Nice.
Oh, really? Well, what's the premise of the movie?
Is people at a diner, and they're surrounded by tractor-trailer trucks that essentially come to life and start driving themselves.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kind of like Cars.
Right. Ann B. Davis's bowling ball suggested that maybe the guns in the terrorist truck actually drove the car, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember, we want to focus on instrumentalities of evil and not evil itself. That's the position of this administration. But hopefully we're going to get a new administration, and Donald Trump has selected his running mate. It's going to be Mike Pence. Obviously, the announcement was postponed from today because of the attack in southern France yesterday.
And I think it'll be over the weekend. I don't think it'll take place today at all.
Right.
But he's trying to keep it a secret, and it really...
Well, it's been interesting to me, too, the response to the Pence selection. A lot of the people that, the kind of the Beltway pundits that decry Trump as too unconventional, and I think there's some legitimacy to that. I mean, unconventional is a bit euphemistic for some of the things Trump has said, but they decry him as too unconventional, and he needs to be more buttoned down. Then he picks a buttoned down running mate, and now a lot of those same people are criticizing him for making too conventional a pick.
Oh, you want to hear my favorite? This is from Political Pundit saying, this conventional choice is risky for Trump's brand.
Yeah, I mean, I mean,
really? I mean, it was a safe choice. It was a conservative choice, and social conservatives are going to be happy, which is great leading into the big Republican National Convention. We want harmony. You want to show that you're a united front so that we could take down the Democrats.
And I think there's some people that just don't like Trump, and I get the dyed-in-the-wool dislike of Trump. I get
Thank
it.
you.
I frankly share it.
This is the first time you kind of understand me.
Well, no, I
little bit.
said from the beginning, but I mean, how many times do I have to call the guy a witless ape to communicate that? But
he's our problem now.
But that's not the same thing as the disingenuousness of casting dislike as analysis. I guess that's my point. But for more analysis on the selection and the convention, the upcoming convention next week, we're joined by David Freddoso. He's the commentary editor for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
And so your assessment of the Pence selection?
Well, I believe that Pence, I think, like you said, he's a social conservative choice. I think one of the things I don't agree with Donald Trump on very much, but he said something very accurate earlier this week, which was that history has shown that your choice of a vice presidential selection doesn't really matter that much.
Right.
And, I mean, people used to talk about, I think decades ago, they'd talk about how picking somebody might help you carry a state because of geography or something like that. I don't know that that's really been the case for quite a while. I mean, ever since Gore picked Lieberman and Bush picked Cheney, Bush wasn't going to lose Wyoming and Gore wasn't going to lose Connecticut, and it just really hasn't been the case. And, picking somebody like Pence is more of an attempt to reassure conservatives who are, I think, rather anxious watching the Trump campaign right now.
And
to reassure them.
And Beltway types, too, that because, and this is, again, you call for him to unite the party, and that's his chore as the nominee. And he picks a guy who is going to be very comfortable in establishment circles in D.C., and then he's chided for picking an establishment. I mean, it's a little bit kind of moving goalposts.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't view Pence as an insider type of guy. And in fact,
when he was in Washington, I mean, he was in a house, and I remember this, and I talked to him in those days when I was covering Congress for Human Events and National Review. And he first of all, he was one of this handful of guys that voted against the prescription drug bill. If you remember the old Bush prescription drug bill long, long ago. And there just weren't very many Republican members of Congress willing to vote against it. They held the vote open for 4 hours or whatever it was to make this happen. Pence was one of the guys that just refused to do it. So, I wouldn't consider him insider that way. The other thing is that later on he became conference chairman of the NRCC. Of the Republican caucus on the Hill, not of the NRCC. And there were a lot of rather bitter complaints about his ability to do the job. And one that I remember in particular, and this is back when Paul Ryan was the House budget. He was not the chairman because Republicans were in the minority. But Ryan was going to be the one putting together a Republican rival budget to the Democrats and to Obama's budget. And they had an event where Pence put together something that was billed as a budget, and I showed up as a member of the press to cover it. And when I got the thing, I looked at it and I was like, where are all the numbers? Because there weren't any, and Ryan behind the scenes was furious because there was no, this is basically a PR stunt without any numbers, and Ryan ended up being the one who had to defend it, and so he was very upset with Pence for setting this whole thing up. I don't think that Pence is an insider because I think he's genuinely someone with much more conservative beliefs, for one thing, that I shared then and share now, but also that he's not someone who I think a lot of insiders don't respect him because of, concerns about competence or whatever. And I'm not saying I share those, but he has made some big mistakes.
All right, so if Donald Trump went with his heart rather than with political practicality, who would he have chosen?
If he went with political practicality, probably, I agree, like I said before, I agree with him that it just doesn't matter that much. I would choose Gingrich if I were him, probably. But Pence, given that it doesn't matter that much, I think that Pence is probably a fine choice for him, provided that he ends up actually following through on that. I mean, there were some questions about that late yesterday, but Pence seems fine.
Well, from the speaker's lineup and then the little legislative business the RNC took care of yesterday with respect to the conscience clause or delegates unbinding themselves on the first ballot for Trump and any of that, with that all taken care of and the prospect of any type of convention coup effort by the boards, what kind of convention do you expect next week?
Well, I think it's going to be kind of I don't expect there to be any big events. I don't expect there will be protests outside. I don't think that conservatives who are opposed to Trump are going to disrupt the convention floor or anything like that. What I would expect to see is a bit of it's not going to be a ghost town convention, but it's going to be a bit strange in that you're going to have a lot of people who just don't want to speak there because it's Trump, and you're going to have there's a lot of money that is not being the party, the organizers of the convention are begging for Sheldon Adelson to kick in a bunch of money because it is people don't want to sponsor a convention with Trump. It's just too controversial, and who knows what he's going to say. He's proven that he is a live wire, and he could say anything. I'm not sure I would want to sponsor this convention, so they're begging for money right now.
And how many? I mean, we know our governor of Illinois is not going. A number of other well-known Republicans aren't going. Who do you think is the biggest speaker? I mean, besides obviously Donald Trump and Pence, but who's the one that people are going to turn on their televisions or their cable networks to watch?
I don't know that there is one, to be honest. Perhaps Ted Cruz, if it's a certain kind of person. But people might turn it on just because no one can turn their head when there's a train wreck in the other lane.
I want to kind of turn it on for Dana White, president of UFC. I'll be interested to see what that guy's got to say. You got some interesting characters
and
you've
Rick
assembled.
Springfield's performing.
Well, you're going to turn it on for Antonio Sabato Jr. You've got
yes.
a girlhood crush on him.
I've got an exclusive lined up with him.
I bet you do. David, before we let you go, let me ask you a question. Given what happened with the attack in Nice yesterday, Dallas last week, this election seems to really be setting up for Trump in terms of a law and order election, internationally, as well as nationally, with respect to law enforcement, particularly in our major urban centers. And I wonder if you think that's true, number one, and number two, if that's going to redound not just to the presidential race, but also all the congressional races and even maybe state and local races.
Well, I think that's a possibility. However, I'd caution that based on what happened after Orlando, where Trump's response was puzzling and disappointing to people, as the polls seem to indicate. It's been different for previous terrorist acts. We've had so many during this presidential season, I'm afraid, and many of them have given Trump a boost, at least in the short run, but then some haven't. So I really think it's subject to interpretation at this point. I'm not sure we know the real answer to that.
All right. He is David Freddoso, the commentary editor for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. David, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Yuck. I don't like when old men date younger women. But big news, rock legend Mick Jagger got a surprise announcement to make. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine today, a high of 78 degrees. And over the weekend, we're going to have plenty of sunshine, no rain. Mild on Saturday in the mid-70s. And on Sunday, we'll get near 90 degrees once again. And once again, let's go out to Jim Talamonte. How's that inbound Kennedy doing, Jim?
Well, Amy, your delays start at Pulaski on the inbound Kennedy and continue into the downtown area. It's 45 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 35 from Montrose, 30 in the Express. The Ohio feeder's heavy. Outbound, 26 minutes to Montrose, 37 to O'Hare. Edens, 19 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 28 after a stall at Foster. The Eisenhower's, an hour and 5 minutes Thorndale to downtown, just 35 minutes from Manheim, outbound 42 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40. The Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. North on Tri-State heavy from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Adams Tollway a little bit tight, Toohey to Lee. The other tollways have cleared up. Northwest Indiana's great. There are closures on the south side of Chicago at 55th and California after a building collapse. I'm Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Hey, there's a great reason why nearly every AM 560 host endorses this product, because it's the best ever. Even the National Sleep Foundation agrees that Made in America MyPillow is in a class by itself because they made it their official pillow. Now, if you still haven't gotten one, you should. You'll sleep better, and it's good for your health. It's washable, so it can remove that dead skin, dirt, skin oils, and dust mites that accumulate over the years. It'll help if you have allergies, acne, asthma. You really deserve a washable MyPillow, and it comes with a 10-year warranty, and it's an excellent health investment. So visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Be sure to use the promo code Amy so I can get some credit, but then you'll get 2 pillows for the price of one. Give one as a gift. Keep one for yourself or just use both of them. But do it now. 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code Amy.
Not available in all states. Whoa, what do you have there?
It's a Reese & Irvy's frozen yogurt. We just had our robot make one.
A robot made your frozen yogurt?
Yes, the world's first fully interactive robot vending machine that serves 9 flavors of delicious yogurt with 6 amazing toppings. And it's available for an exclusive franchise opportunity.
How do I get my own Reese & Irvy's robots?
It's easy, but you better act now. Locations and machines are going fast. Just go to froyofranchising.com and enter promo code 3131. That's froyofranchising.com, promo code 3131.
Raj Shah, host of Secure Retirement Radio.
I believe not only in protecting your retirement and making the growth going forward, but also having a tax-efficient retirement as well, because you want your retirement portfolios to generate an income stream that will last for your life, for your spouse's life, and if you have kids, that will pass on to the next generation as well.
Tune in for Secure Retirement Radio with Raj Shah, Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
If you could quickly and painlessly clear your psoriasis or vitiligo, would you?
No matter how big the psoriasis is, no matter how small the psoriasis, we can help you.
Ashley is a clinical specialist for X-Track, the amazing in-office treatment for psoriasis and vitiligo that's clinically proven to show immediate results with up to 95% clearance.
What my patients love most about the X-Track treatments is it's safe, it's FDA cleared, and they're seeing results very quickly.
End the embarrassing, painful patches and discoloration with X-Track. There's no medications, no topical ointments, and virtually no side effects. X-Track uses light to transform your skin and change your life. It's covered by all major insurances and Medicare, and will help you find a doctor close by.
I love what I do. I love coming in every day and making a difference in patients' lives. It's amazing.
Call now to live X-Track Clear. Call 800-978-3554. That's 800-978-3554. 800-978-3554, or visit xtracradio.com. Qualified patients, certain restrictions apply.
AM 560, The Answer.
I think he's getting some satisfaction.
Yeah.
Mick Jagger announcing that he and his 29-year-old girlfriend, they're
When you start him up,
due to have a baby. What did you say?
when you start him up, he can't stop.
Well, this is his 8th child.
Never stop.
With 4 different women. He's 72 there, I might add. She's 29, so you do the math.
You
How
know
many
what?
years apart are they, Dan?
You know what? I don't even recognize age because love is love.
Oh, really? Well, they've seen each other on and off since 2014. She's a ballerina. They said they're still going to live their independent lives. Of course, he's going to have to pay child support, but he's used to doing that. So his oldest son is 45 years old. His youngest is 18 years old with 3 different women. And now this woman he's going to have a newborn baby at 72.
I wish the happy couple nothing but good fortune.
See why this story makes you smile and this story makes me sick.
Why?
Because it's not age appropriate for appropriate at all for a 72-year-old man.
Was it?
By the way, turned 73 July 26th. It's next week.
Was it age appropriate when you were 25 and Edward James Olmos was 85 and you made out with him? Was that age appropriate?
That's not fair, Dan. I didn't know how old he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he had an ARP card, but I didn't know.
Uh-huh. Little ballerina girl.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The U.S. Senior and Women's Open, the BMW Championship, the Chicago Half Marathon, NASCAR racing, the Blackhawks Parade. So many festivals and special events. And they all have one thing in common: Master Fence Rental. Master Fence Rental provides professional fence rental services throughout all phases of your construction project, special event, or emergency situation, along with prompt delivery and expert installation. These are the guys to call when you need to maintain temporary safety and security at your site. Master Fence Rental is ready right now for your next big event or building project with chain link fences, fence panels, and pedestrian barricades that are uniquely designed and built to be sturdy, safe, and attractive with easy installation and takedown. Event planners, show producers, contractors, request a free quote today and get ready to work with the temporary fence pros. Master Fence. Call 866-622-0822. 866-622-0822 or online, masterfencerental.com.
The rootin' tootin' timeless fun of the Old West is waiting for you and the kids at Donnelly's Wild West Town in nearby Union, Illinois. Wild West Town is a perfect day out for families with children ages 3 to 11. All rides and attractions are included in one low admission price. Pony rides, a runaway mine car roller coaster, gold panning, a canoe ride, a Wild West stunt show. That's awesome. They're just some of the fun and hands-on activities that await you and the kids. So go to 560theanswer.com/wild for your discount coupons. Wild West Town is the perfect place for your child's birthday party. And grandparents, this is a great day out for you and the grandkids. You won't believe how much fun you will have. Grandparents can receive free admission on Mondays and Tuesdays with that coupon from 560theanswer.com/wild. Wild West Town is located 45 minutes northwest of O'Hare Airport, just off I-90. So round up the gang and head out to Donnelly's Wild West Town in Union, Illinois.
You've heard it. Illinois has the highest taxes in the nation. If you own a home, your mortgage payment is going up. Taxes, homeowners insurance are all increasing. This is Barbara Walters, president of Ameritrust. Think about this.
If your mortgage rate is 3.25% or above,
let's lower your mortgage payment. Anne refinanced and saved $649 per month on her mortgage payment. Alice refinanced and she saved $530 per month. And another couple saved $475 per month. No matter what, your mortgage payment is going to increase. Make the call, find out what your savings can be.
Ameritrust Mortgage. Call 815-459-7303, 815-459-7303, or go to am560myhome.com. Ameritrust Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee number 720, NMLS number 217229.
AM 560, The Answer.
Thank you so much for making us part of your morning. Our thanks to Eric Thomas, who's filling in today for David Stripling, and Cesar Perez, the executive producer. And, of course, our thoughts and prayers and condolences go out to all of those who've lost their lives and family members in Nice, France. Now, with that, let's go into the newsroom and get the latest on the situation in France. Here is Mike Scott.